start in a couple seconds.
Ooh, Lord, trouble so hard. Ooh, Lord, trouble so hard. Don't nobody know my trouble but God. Don't nobody know my trouble but God.
On July 18, 2025, the community came together for the holy day of prayer this day, were preceded by paragraph of commentary and scholarship and weeks of deliberation across the nation state. Around these out forum the prayer we should take in order to develop more godly and values and attitudes out of support democratic vote. The community prayed to God requesting the top of the debate be that United States for the government should set its so that's instruction becoming wide by the United States. Justification for the debate the topic was testified to the idea that labor talk and debate about power and living under democracy and not debate labor to 1982 time we some of the comfort zone. If now the conclusion of the topic, you should ask yourself, what have we learned about the labor? We've dated labor education for 8 months now. Think to yourself, what has the topic done to get debate has stepped out of their comfort zone. Debate has not stepped out of the comfort zone one bit. For the past 8 months, topic of debate has been at an all-time low. Policy barrier has read the same for their workers after most of the season, with the only new arguments being the comfort zone that they've already occupied, which is nuclear war, economic decline, and more than that, having begun to get to the question of power and labor in the topic of promises for there in exchange for voting for it by excluding more nuanced and metaphysical parts of labor in the topic that feels uncomfortable to them. This is not a bug with its future racial conflict or European alignment race to figure the human order to recreate anti-black value system and political system that since they whiteness and its existence, this spiritual conflict will what we call night nihilism, which is a structuring foundation of the universe and value itself. The justice between European thoughts whether humanity, white and European men, this is white supremacy, value alongside anti-black institutions, structured reality, organization, and white, and this white university, exceptional geographic, a fair black body, because nothing to be dominated, but it can be denied with the black body against the white consciousness for the value of projections. And labor and power is coherent to anti-black means that are grounded in European humanism. White consciousness has become infectious as power becomes a racial response which forces black people to suffer to engage in libidinal economic pleasure. This fills every workplace and economy, from debate to the union. Racial inclusion is a form of racial lip service that authorises libidinal kicks to engage racial fantasies, providing non-black people with psychological wages and black people with bad inferiority to end black people the guide of fairness that dwells with a liberal politician because of the black community and providing inclusion, recognition, which quality being like liberal guilty, but also pleasure for religious, spiritual, white liberal rationalized, and expedite their belief in the government doing something to society and the branch away from the economy for class work and testify anti-black and workers against that system reacting when they witness to improve within the class workers stabilize system which workers can into otherwise individual result and equal harm for the superior accident or assault, confirmation and racial result by economic racial society default to within political economy engaged with liberal economy, little currency, white and developed psychological ways into the white working with past white wages, white visiting, reaping benefits of enjoyment and the provide worker living economic payoff to the consent of the capital system onto the little bit of take away something surface and open anti-black and racial response imagining never will be unflamed benefiting the system the great no humanity for the system we're not white other there the racial this relevant and solving right time white worker real recycling of white people at the rent for your collective fancy the ritual harmony united states doubly down the white disruption back to the ongoing media increasing kind of white victim we're all lacking the like moving like any offensive origin and the attack white solidarity for the capture the black and the and back to the identity possible respective class will drive liberty efforts in for the universal like claim the source provide stuff for black folks and normally the mode of the engagement with debate are unrelated by little reason which requires niggas to liquidate themselves, which is the same as the real simple world that requires black people to become terraforming in favor of human interest making vice inevitable. That's eventually possibly the same as the difference of support to framework of behavior critics like believe that the behavior becomes framework of special behavior respect to simply policy and cognitive medical time white civil and policy and constant anti-black and variable policy to base on the ability to amend anti-black and violent face of future the future making process decisions white anything that anti-black and genocidal we're taking no reasons of corporate interest gain niggas happens almost without how to do it how niggas live and die for each other one another anti-black corporate what the description is for black essentially for human life and attempt to cohere a universal model of engagement reproduces a master slave dialect. We're creating a master drive to mastery that reproduces child slavery that maintains black inhumanity. That's doesn't the master slave dialect of conscious with the aspiring to absolute knowledge and when the other appears in the direct recognition of the must lose self in the master that changes the mastery fails to the mastery not great recognition or equal or inferior than black the object of activity of labor are unable to lose itself to universal satisfaction necessary retaining consciousness abstract liberally conscious and this is the black people made to be enslaved in the same he must have to respond to the white ideals and situating black humanity Nazis and there no share value for the anti-black race anti-black races whites and black people and the black is struggle to firm with the practice of invincibility anti-black race and minds for safe that conflict of black humanity only be violated so the replacing the white nihilist concept of white side eradicate black no longer black nihilism competition with the white nihilist value force recognition black social value one cannot go back on the same with those reflex of the question white humanity that demanded same in the first place and when they try to eliminate a blackness do a nigga bad and peep this first work that's evidently with the black and make overcome human repetition do not the anti-black or this white Obama doing right under the bus no difference among the making her eliminate by being the best alive black people in the application interpretation black people or before black people from the human black human that's the human and make nigga affect the size of the attraction of black life it makes sense that all the black people have a lot of the end education but they won't become niggas because niggas they feel that black people will lead or elevated for both the political capital the future of the DNC and the niggas are trying to figure black people in the process on niggalidation not appealing to black life believe criminality niggalidation speaks to the process checking both of black life noise to essentialize and make it popular with humanity and war one to like elimination black region and other capitalization one most people for their life This gains a connection with how niggas live with people before we recognize where the black people there are niggas and the difference between them is the experience from nature while living black. And strong black violence and black noise has historically moved the needle involving racial progress within debate. From Louisville using metaphorical interpretation of the topic to Thompson, reading black liberation theology and Quartus for black and practice and changing what it means to have debate about debate and the community that have these spaces from Emporia Rutgers and when uniting the crowd to show them that critical debate is just as intellectual a big policy school creating case debate that starts from the station that the world will always be anti-black. Even the president of black nihilism debate still refuses to be certain black participation at the dinner table. The topic starts with the conversation of strengthening collective bargaining rights for workers in the United States, but refuses to debate about strengthening collective bargaining for debaters in this space. The hegemonic unit of the PRL and other framework debaters have refused to listen to the demands of black critical debaters and their call to engage in critical argument to a substantive matter and rather read TUSFG as ground for releasing black debaters. Multiple examples, 3-point inflation response to Jamila and Nadia winning Speaker Award at Kentucky argument that racism being turned into microaggression leading mass source to critical argument teams, refusing the secondary strike for black critical debaters and when acts of racism and exploitation arise big, policy focused schools refusing to come to see it and instead going to the ADA and the silly aspect of the fairness paradox are all examples that workers within the union of debate refusing to show up for black and brown debaters to gain a little bit of no psychological ways of whiteness to balance, polarization and control of debate at the workplace. So in response, fuck that revokery strike vote at state. It does not matter whether or not we debated whether or not you guys are corporations and things like collective market rights for workers in the United States with an African black knowledge. That's don't tell me what adaptation produce black there's a black attitude from the anti-black racism, fuck anti-black racism, fuck anti-black racism, fuck that black nihilism and knowledge power for this year, party destructive power for everything for the I really safe in the basis. The overreaction and forming elitism criticism, they do that nihil perspective into the 8th October recorded during the national anthem saying fuck that same other argument and what about was wrong with Howard said the attempts that define what's like may involve where we involve for the funeral activity eliminated perspective for blackness and invisibility and represented experience in the topic of black anti-black racism and that's the trust to have no value being saying that we not care about what the person said, the present of the state will correct rejection anti-black says the achievement and resisting one for doing invisibility and black rejection come out of reason constitute unreasonable situation unreasonable reason no unreason with reason and attempted ability and also reason to most creative black perspective the United States are vocal back with take articulate black and what society human thought and we reform as fair education even though we know judges are racist and will not judge debates fairly if it means betraying the religious beliefs even if they say they do fuck that we were promised in their paradigm that reflect their judging fuck that even though we attempt to cater to those beliefs just to have people like Kirk Felsi email us after they lose saying they change their mind all of a sudden about their arguments because they don't want to be judged by big schools who actively oppose our libertarian ideology fuck that we promise that judges will stick to their flow even though judges like Black Proud saying their RFD they will not vote for critical acts even they win the flow because they care too much about procedure fairness all of a sudden judges like the wild debate making their own white interpretation of what Afro-pessimism is as a form of privilege extending to your arguments that were never made and tell us I don't understand your arguments even after they read our arguments like but judges start ruling on presumption even after they defend our method departs from the status quo and they don't want to vote teams out after saying slurs judges forget that what biodiversity is links do not matter since they are not to link to the planet even though we know damn sure they are literally what the fuck type of decision it is this fuck that we were promised that the entire tournament every participant expects the same outcome while teams shout to have tournaments or they get pairings earlier than the rest of the tournament even though they know what they're doing is wrong fuck that we were promised teams to lose after making in-round racial arguments and we get judge screwed after the 2-yard drop feel bad fuck that we promised the topic will provide some new argument innovation policy teams will incorporate new arguments we've never seen before when the teams still believe black videos being framework about the after neg and tell you that if we switch sides they will actually engage in our arguments which is just a racial dog whistle just wanting just like counterplay debates fuck that I love you all but fuck that we're tired of lies white nihilism it's time to change the color on nihilism and our faith actually we don't care about evil deals like mine makes framework producers have activists fuck that the Georgetown town system was told us hours before the tournament began that hegemonically skew prep judge represent etc we were forced to go to engage the system but still chose to do such a half-fire KPK debate Georgetown getting called up by my goats MSU GS for reading sides often like Lewis Gordon and then Georgetown calling MSU Twitter warriors and then paternalizing them by saying I'm sorry we just agree to disagree Georgetown spent the tournament actively placing black in the framework to constantly these famous lies about the 3 truths etc are all parts of a larger debate community that forces black debaters to have racialized action constantly calling people under her model young and bright educated people which the myth of the PRL was used to justify calling black insurgent debaters educated wild and simple the fact that we're reading this out again is just unique because it proves that even though it's not strategic for us to read this type of argument especially post the slave quarters you know that voting affirmative is key to join the call this is our spiritual prayer to the black youth fuck that amen that tells people my father this is my prayer offer back that is used on prayer after all prayer it's directed at the own consciousness strength vital life vitality freedom and youth and the maturity call upon black belief in mind and release yourself for the myth what the social policy company process and hate us black lives we all we're saying to all the value of this maybe continue with our ecstasy no prayer that will respect this and see new possibility value for being new many and for blackness defeating anti-black racism for our we've already playing fuck that amen.
Can you turn on the music slightly just because I'm having a hard time hearing? Thanks. Okay, everyone's good. Alright, so I want to start with the Johnson evidence. You've read a critique of European humanism. I'm curious how you've come to the conclusion that European humanism is irredeemable.
Because they're grounded in value systems that always require an otherization of things that are not seen as reasonable. For
Why is
example,
that intrinsically true? So you've cited
because
historical
European
examples of that
humanism
being
is
used.
built on Enlightenment values that seek to sort of create a distinction between what is right and what is not, proven by you saying that your model debate is better for young, bright, and educated people,
Sure, let's
which is a
drop down to
racist
the
dogma
bottom
to
of the
call
one
black
you
debaters
see.
like unreasonable
So
or
I have
dumb.
a selection of questions
Yeah,
about
go
the
ahead.
bottom of the one you see.
Yeah,
so
sure.
First kind of broad question is you've given a bunch of examples of like past judges fucking you over,
Correct.
etc. Why
Yeah.
does voting AF result in that?
We will make an argument that it's not necessarily a one-to-one correlation, but there are a couple things. First, ballot proximity. Obviously, voting affirmative nor negative cannot create a model. It's rather a question of the type of investments we should make into debate, right? I.e., the Louisville Project obviously did not change debate overnight, but a accumulation of ballots and wins definitely did change the trajectory of the community, which means we've called out bad practices in
But why does
debate.
accumulating this
What?
ballot mean that those bad
Okay,
practices
so this
don't
logic
continue?
is
Because-
absolutely
let
fraudulent.
me
No,
finish,
it is.
because,
This logic is absolutely
literally
fraudulent.
last year, a team that read non-topical alternatives won the national debate tournament. These
And
practices have
yes,
still
and then this
continued.
topic
What
is
the
an example of
connection?
like white lash to that. Like
Why
this
is this topic white lash?
because like everybody knew that this topic was going to be like functionally probably pretty horrible because Trump dumps everything, and people said, oh well, we want to read a super soft left topic that
Is
was
there
like
a topic
about
you
labor
think we
rights.
could have had
I'm
that
sorry?
wouldn't have been impacted by Trump? Like I don't know why Trump proves this topic.
Well, it's not
white
just
lash.
about Trump, but it's rather like the nature of labor debates, right? Like,
Nature
i.e.,
of
every
labor
app can say, oh,
debates.
well,
Okay.
having labor rights is good, so that deletes your K. Like, this is the example of white lash that your model debate promotes, and this sort of like cross moment is like the
Okay,
perfect example of how you mask that shit to justify more
The
anti-blackness.
challenge bracket, like why does voting AF change the fact that BK didn't tell anyone?
So,
including us,
do
that
you
we were
want to
doing a
let me
challenge
finish my
bracket?
first part of the question that you asked earlier that's in conjunction with this, or do you want to cut me off again?
I want to skip to the question I just asked.
Yeah, okay,
which is
sure,
why this-
because these are functionally the same two things. So, again, nothing about voting affirmative obviously redos the challenge system. But again, it's about accumulation of ballots. Georgetown is telling all 5 of you right now to not drop of water in the bucket. Our argument is that this is the same logic as saying, oh, well, you shouldn't not do anti-racism because you can't solve all of racism. That is a slippery slope, bad logic, and if you think our app is good and they're bad, you vote affirmative.
I have like two structuring questions. First is that do you think that debaters within debates should be held responsible for like actions taken by people that are not them?
Well,
their
our
coaches,
argument,
etc.?
our argument would be that you directly benefit from structures of anti-blackness that are often at our demise.
Okay, but if the examples that you're
It's
giving
not like
are, no,
you
let me
should
finish.
lose
The
because
examples that
you're a bad
giving,
person. That's not the argument if you think that's what
Why
it is.
should debaters lose for things that occurred in like prior debates that they had?
Because we think you benefit from those things. If you try to do racist things, that just supercharges uniqueness, why you should lose in conjunction with that.
Okay. Citation order is to amend the case.
I gotta get it up, and then once I have it open, I'm good.
No worries, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
First off, is topicality, interpretation, the affirmative to defend the hypothetical desirability of the resolution statement, otherwise the negative does not have the burden of rejoinder to the team. Aside affirmative in debate, side one task of polling, the proposition to be debated, Minister 19, affirmative definition, the affirmative side of the debate upholds, the opposition should make a normative statement about the most desirable thing to do. Game particular, they should use to say what is the correct or best thing to do, you should take the subway. The affirmative has not met their burden. The USFG is the three branches of government and politics, 98, United States federal government is form of legislative, executive, and judiciary. Strengthening collective bargaining rights means bargaining over wages, hours, and conditions of employment. Maintaining the right to bargain collectively provides a good negotiation about wages, hours, and conditions of employment. Vote neg 1, principal limits the resolution is the only thing that both teams have in advance. Clearly delays a burden of proof and a burden of rejoinder which is associated ground on each side. Both teams prepare on that basis in advance of the tournament. So arbitrarily shifting that basis, both expose the limit on the topic and unfairly purposes the after. This is an impact based game with a winner and a loser. It only functions with a baseline of procedural fairness. 2 is research. Procedural limits competitively incentivize debaters to do in-depth research on both sides, which makes us more humble and reflexive. And it's uniquely important on this topic because labor is central to all forms of leftist organizing. Next off is the cap K. Racial capitalism is certainly unsustainable. It culminates in war, interventions, and the super exploitation in the name of profit. Turns the case. We're in studies winning. Racial capitalism is a racially hierarchical political economy consuming one military migrants, accumulation, corporation by domination, and labor super exploitation practices, coincidentalization of disposability, expendability, and devalorization, racial capitalism is sustained by military expenditure, low standard of living, domestic super exploitation, practices, expressing the struggle location, bottom of the labor hierarchy, racial capitalism, mode of production developed, reflected in slavery's time, motion parts, all kinds of scheming, the ability to handle and reconfigure states moving capacity into and out of public realm theory. Racial capitalism is rooted in the work of black freedom fighters who entanglements of racialism and class antagonism. Their emphasis on cultural resistance marginalizes material political economic critiques of anti-blackness. Word in study 16. Emphasis on cultural affinity directed by material experiences in the wake of a neoliberal agenda that produced a rollback of the state. The political economy would become marginalized in the process of cultural specification or determination became evident in the debates that are taking place within the discipline. This debate marginalized political economic critique and fell into the myopic conversation based on cultural debates around the meaning of the culture and how it should be articulated. African and studies was unable to make an impact on black people outside of the academy. African studies challenged racial epistemology and fell far short of critique that systematically engaged structures of domination, competitive exploitation. Cultural focus ran the state and capital reprieve from critical engagement and focusing political resistance through black cultural studies guarantees a neoliberal bait and switch between problem identification and solution. Focus on racism and ideological concealment that precludes practical organizing, even if the alt and the apps are compatible in theory. Read in 126. Concern with racial reckoning was effective now that black people can be a working class where Charles taunted that every corporation has done more for anti-racism than the left highlighted the class character of this black anti-racist politics one over mass incarceration and police holding is yielded demands to address a racial law capitalist essence of the bait and switch ideology works. Black academics under black cultural studies found that rats political resistance in cultural expression, chiefly hip-hop, and defined their career as EO, ipso a form of insurgent political practice somehow more racially that they get institutional politics and scope of black political distortion shrivel to identifying racial disparities. They focused more on finding than policies and validating racial reductionist interpretation. Claim that nothing has changed, reveals the debate in switch. They claims gender authenticity, asserting a rhetoric of militant composition based on facetious and allegories. They portray sameness. The fact is that income and economic differentiation among black Americans increased substantially since civil rights accumulated wealth is distributed unequally among black people. If neoliberalism eliminated working class opposition, that black politics and neoliberal order to issue downwardly to distributive policies that happen. This syndocratic racecraft that rejects class differentiation in place, economic equality and debates for employment, living wage and climate and healthcare race reductions formulations, conveniently obscure class character of the practical agendas by intellectual activity and mentioned consolidation of class politics, institutionalization, commitment to groupism was higher order tax policies, within which racism and necessity recreating race as a culture, and encourage this connection of inequality from the political economy, race, ideology of serious exploitation, including how partial class food benefits conceal testimoniation of the interracial inequality when the abstract goals seem compatible in practical cases of common black elite suits, class inclusion as a tool to recognize housing along racial lines, and vote neg the alternative eco-Leninism immediate revolutionary change from the vanguard party's only response in the face of the climate crisis monetarily. Anti-experimental response to climate crisis revolution changes in London. Now, the eco-Leninism offers emergency action and hard power from the state and unwavering transformation in the face of climate crisis. Eco-Leninism argues for immediate action spirit, so long as it lends to emergency state-based action. The party built upon tactics familiar to movement actors and experiments in farming and survival-oriented initiatives, coalitions composed and through shared struggles, acts of solidarity, and party building between indigenous people, workers, women, and racialized communities, and other oppressed and exploited groups. The vanguard party with absolutism stands at odds with the computational and pluralistic approach. On the vanguard can identify the successful strategic pathway in the absence of successful vanguard leadership, sustainability, emancipation, or truly political action never can be achieved. The case. 1, you should not adjudicate things that happen outside of this debate. You are not there, you cannot possibly know what did or did not occur. You should only evaluate what occurs within the 2 hours between the constraints of start time and decision time. Several trade-offs. 1, several reasons. 1, it trades off with literally every form of substantive debate doubly impacted out in T. 2, it gets weaponized. You weren't there, which means it gets used against black and brown debaters based on unproven allegations. 3, because the out-of-bound solves. This doesn't require you to think that taboo is perfect. Instead, just that out-of-bound conversations with trusted adults, coaches from both teams, etc., are preferable to hashing it out as a competitive format where debaters are incentivized to double down. Independently, debaters should not have to answer for, defend, or be responsible for the actions of their coaches. Not only are they different people, but the structural power that coaches hold over students means that debaters are often left with no recourse to stop their coaches from engaging in behavior they fucking dislike. This puts debaters in harm's way by requiring them to intervene in their coaches' behavior in ways that may actually put them in danger. It also unjustly holds debaters responsible in cases where they must debate for someone with whom they disagree because there's literally no other option. Challenge the bracket wasn't disclosed to us either, and I'm pretty sure everyone on this panel knows that we also experienced the effects of BK's disorganization. MSU's situation was already hashed out in another debate. Connolly did not paternalize them. We apologize for any harm caused, not for to talk more, and never read the card again and deleted it from all of our files. Framework is not a policing, nor is it a racist dog whistle. Debaters are awesome, we work hard, we're young and motivated, and we make arguments about why that should be funneled into research, but all of that is also always a debate. And positioning the ballot as advancing social justice feeds into circular economies of academic consumption that turns the case. Block 22. Relations among body become deteriorized with the capitalist axiom of maximizing flow. Neoliberalism is the flow of capital opposite resistance discipline is achieved by techniques that turn care inwards. Subject becomes a point of flow. The nothing more than the feels. It does not matter what is said so much that what operates keeping the flows going. Everything is according to racial and the relationality. There is no limits. Media's embrace of normalized queer, trans, and black lives makes this apparent queer. I for a straight guy. Markets queer. That's consumption. I and K valorizing treasure case self acceptance while leaving the terrain of monetized procedures out of the frame. And different epistemologies refine structural oppression. Time 20. When people say to listen to the most effective, it is often meant a conversational authority call for deference as a default political orientation can marginalized groups interested in these spaces. Some groups have outsized influence, access itself, like social advantage, who ends up in news shapes our world, the more than competitive prestige differs. Campaigns direct attention away from the system that prevents centering the most marginalized. It focuses on the rooms we occupy rather than the erections we do not experience misrepresented colleagues to the center of the right topics have corrosive effects, especially when communities norms magnify these behaviors, cover for the abnegation of responsibility and a high percentage caricature difference to the short-term psychological wounds, but at a steep cost again undermine episodic goals that motivate fighting for freedom rather than focus on specific goals rather than avoiding complexity or adherence to moral principles in terms of pedestals or symbolism, and focusing politics on the scope, or I'll skip that card, the libidinal economy is not falsifiable. For 21, empirical literature did not support theory about dreams, memory, repression, psychoanalytic unconscious does not receive empirical support. Psychoanalysis cannot be disconfirmed, only confirmed contrary evidence to be inconceivable. Psychoanalysis operates similarly to a conspiracy theory. Criticism can always be labeled as unconscious resistance. Psychoanalysis is a pseudoscience, and Long Beach has double-turned themselves by saying humanism is both good and bad, because according to their own 180 scholars will pick it as good and win because of that. One, the prerequisite to rejection of weak white nihilism is humanism as a revolutionary starting point, even if they win large portions of the theory. Hawkins, 25, nonsense against pessimism and fear, nihilism requires new values in the place of the fallen one. Pessimism, nihilistic term must be balanced with life-affirming philosophy. Law of access to be experienced as something other than social death. There is no clear thing about racism is differently acknowledging its identities exist, but perceiving blackness as a sign of resistance. The goal is struggle that hard, positive change requires struggles like in the end should lead to empowerment, resistance instead of resignation. Theory aid in invigorating change, radical transition, and feminist movements of seeing racism as an impediment to developing new ways of being. A child's permanence of the anti-black condition, say yes to life, if choose violence, stop, make revolutionary struggle futile, makes an accidental necessity, affirmation of life and love, blackness. Two, it is malleable and necessary. Vote neg to embrace a recapturing of humanism. Number 24, Fanon was a radical humanist, black and white, or not fixed positions effective and historically gendered and enforced racialized violence. There is no Manchurian opposition for Fanon mobilizes humanism to be brought into equal relations as being depersonalized is not to reject the category of personhood or but to transform unequal conditions from to technological and scientific progress. The common cause is built not given forth by action and interaction. Fanon needs the perspectives informed more than human perspectives on planetary disasters could cause global boiling. As radical humanists made demands of humanism, he recognized the necessity of humanist relational engagement for a transformed and liberated world, and humanism is a requirement to say yes to life and anti-blackness is not ontological rupture. 26, Fanon's new humanism is possible to say yes to life that wrought in European humanism of a universal humanism and non-colonialism or worms in humanism's apple. Nothing offers ontologically essential about race. Racism creates a colony. Racism is not individual but a system. Fanon is not naive and not carry innocence believing appeals to respect and alter reality. This fact is to take action, and detail-oriented labor law as analysis is necessary about 22. The law is sometimes write it as a footnote on a measure of lacking in rigor. Seen as a distraction from actions, and how can we avoid retreat to able to participate in law is shared. Inclusive undertaking and depends on difficult technical and intellectual skills. It can be improved through persuasive argumentation through our hands. And labor laws abandon those who need protection and leave them in the predictions of the market. They participate in the price tag for ideological purity. We become participants in cafe politics, specifically analyzing labor law through scale and legal matters as if they occur. This stops inequality, cocaine, and more importantly, the law remains an important site for intervention. The naming of legal rules that are determined outcomes depend on how it is used and by whom law is open-ended. Constitutive scale of analysis can be utilized in such process for reasoning and argumentation. Reproducing insights about inequality, law trees, social meanings, knowledge, prefiguration tools use a lot of unsettled institutional arrangements. It falls people to assume new identities of acting as if and. Focusing politics on the scope of an individual round is bad. Again, Williams 15 folk politics means a constellation of ideas that threatens the left rendering and unable to scale beyond a particular interest. Movement is under this way of folk politics are incapable of transforming capitalism. Tactics have now when they come trade and what's useful does not guarantee their relevance. The Schrennick and Williams part was marked at politics.
Good.
Yeah.
Status.
The alternate is conditional.
When did we say all humanism was bad?
We read a linked card.
No, you didn't.
No, we did.
No, you didn't.
Well, also
so your evidence says
Also, 1ACX asked like how you came to the conclusion that humanism is irredeemable.
We said European humanism. I think everybody heard the words European humanism.
Okay, our thing is a link to that.
No, it's not. This card is like conveniently like out of context because you cut the end of the first section that says Johnson says Afro-pessimism is bad. The next section is about why Wilderson is bad. Like Johnson says Afro-pessimism is bad. If you read the card,
I don't think that's true.
Okay, let me read the lines to you so we can all be very clear, okay? Johnson's against Afro-pessimism is fair. Nihilism requires new values. The next section says affirmation of life, Afro-pessimism is bad. Okay. Like, what the fuck? Okay, no, fuck. It's fine. I don't give a shit. The alternative. What does it do for violence in debate? How to stop anti-blackness in debate? Tell me.
The alternative equalitism. We've critiqued.
Where is the party? Where are my resources?
Our argument is that we are actually critiquing the idea that.
No, that wasn't my question.
Yes.
That was not. No, I said what does the party do for violence in debate?
That is the answer to your question because we are critiquing the idea that debate.
Why? Why?
What's
What's the reason? What's the reason?
Radical space.
What is the reason? Why?
Organizing.
Okay, give me examples of this unfolding in debate. People debate the Cap K for 2 decades now, almost, probably longer. Give me examples of when organizing in this space has spilled outside to create the Communist Party you're talking
so
about.
two things.
Okay.
First, we will first make the argument that this space is unique and that it lets
Why
us
is
decide-
why is
Let
it
me answer
unique? People have been
questions,
debating the
Marius,
cap
if
cake
you're
for
gonna ask
20 years.
questions.
Uniqueness has been going on for hella long. Give me examples.
So two things. First is that we will make arguments that this space is unique because it allows us to decide what endpoints we want to get to.
Okay,
The second thing
cool,
is that organizing
sure.
does happen from these spaces because debaters learn
Examples.
the details of how unions function, what it looks
Examples.
like.
You
This
debated
year, what
labor
it
for
looks
8
like to
months.
join
Give me an example of when debating like labor unions has created the Communist Party or the Eco-Leninist
Well,
Party.
no, all of us have learned how the structure of labor unions work, how to join a union in our workplace.
Okay, so
what the
how do we
kinds
get
of
that to
legal
become
recourse looks
eco-socialism?
like. Because that allows us to actually exercise our own worker power. We know
Okay,
that
give
we
me
can
give
hold
me give me
employers
the
to
step by
account.
step of this.
Sure, so I know that if I get a job, I can join the union at my
Get it,
company.
okay, what about
Pay
niggas who can't get a
dues.
job?
Well,
What about niggas who are not unionized? What about niggas who can't pay union dues?
those are all reasons why worker solidarity is good.
What?
It's
Is,
trying to
you're
resolve those
giving niggas
problems.
money to join the labor union?
Well, that can happen.
Are you? How are you
through
getting
labor
niggas jobs?
organizing.
How do you get niggas jobs?
Through labor organizing
How?
and establishment
How?
of the vanguard
How?
party
Yeah,
and
you have
socialism.
look. You have 25 seconds. I will let you explain this. How do you get niggas jobs?
Genuinely, what do you think voting affirmative does?
That's not how that works. We're talking about the alternative. So explain to me, how do you get niggas jobs? You have 19 seconds.
Is
Go.
an imaginary.
Go.
Our alternative
You're
is an
imagining
imaginary.
niggas. Yo, you said no.
Right,
Wait,
so
what?
if
You
you
said
want me to-
debate. No, you said
Our
in this space.
alternative is an imaginary in which profit.
You said
is
in this
abolished.
space, Connolly. How do you get niggas job in this space?
Our alternative does not take place in this
Whatever,
space.
yeah.
Our alternative links
It doesn't take
your
place.
use of
What?
debate.
Literally, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I'll take right. It's
You're right. Oh shit, they left. Okay.
Damn.
Alright, well, just get the card.
What'd you get?
Mocha. Yep.
Yeah, I was-
Said 9:30, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Georgetown, y'all?
It's loading for me. Very slowly.
Is everybody good for voting?
Yeah.
Alright. Case the hidden humanism K at the bottom, with the cap K and the print.
Black nihilism is a rejection of white nihilism within labor and debate. One spiritual prayer affirming Black nihilism alone checks anti-blackness in debate and provides energy and vitality, exposure alone guides community practices to affirm and defend an homology of black debaters as one C. Johnson, two vulgarity, Josh Howard, who proves vulgarity is key to make white respectability politics uncomfortable, which unsettles debate. If you are at all uncomfortable, that is absolutely taking place in this room that looks like a calling out the community through shut down debate, Facebook posts, etc. That which is liberatory ends. This is because anti-blackness coheres labor through libidinal and political economies, making blackness fall outside European humanism. That's one sees all of this. Minds isn't just outside but inside debate as well. The union of debate enables racial responsibility through white nihilism, destroy black critical argumentation despite critical debaters, secondary striking for inclusion, white nihilism, lashes out there racist black critical argumentation from the PRO, FBI, CIA surveillance, policing, decreasing the spiritual and mental health of debaters and more. That's Johnson. Now, Judge Instruction Bo, you wrote an article about being indebted to blackness. Your ballot should do this again to refuse the NDT final PRL representation. Now, Bohica, you are on a team with legendary contributors to black insurgents debate, so you know the benefits that black participation provides to debate. Now, Julian, we trust you, but you should still center stations for black liberation. Now, Michaela, you have been there before in NTT finals with Wake RT. This is the example of the court speaking again. Now, Margaret, you have never been there before, but now it is time for you to lay this line on the sand to support black liberation. Now, on case, the ballot drops in the bucket are good because they created a river and have changed practices around is key. Anything else would say that the panel should not go out and vote because the vote doesn't mean anything, which is depoliticizing and stations anti-blackness forever in this in the debate space. Now, localism will be impact turning the KN framework. Now, Taiwo is wrongly sounded about the parole, but prioritizing all politics for black liberation. And this is a voting issue. It criminalizes the black debaters are supposedly playing the race card, which shows how they police black debaters and ignore their concerns about larger community practices. Now, at the bottom of the 1AC stuff, yes, you do. It's 100% verifiable. Bo knows, and the email chain of the wiki definitely proves. They said our model is not substance, proves you linked. They said our model is not substance, proves that you pathologize the legacy of things like Emporia, Towson, and more as not debatable or not contestable, which proves that you lay them to the wayside and want to erase them entirely, which supercharges our framework offense and ballot key warrants. Now they weaponize T against us, so it cuts back. We said that we should use call out for radical means. If we call you out in a racist way, then we should obviously lose, which we haven't done out of round least the gaslighting, which they have done inside of this round that turns paternalism, litigating it in the round calls because we have no other place to do so because Georgetown wouldn't obviously do it with us proven by the stuff above. Now the BK stuff, we are not saying that you should be held directly accountable for everything, but we can all agree that BK is bad, but it's about the structures that you benefit from, i.e. the racist systems that are endorsed by people like BK, which means it isn't just about him as individually framework is violent, that'll be more below. No libidinal economy, yes, it is. It's about political economies, which means it can be traced through empirics and materiality, and also the examples of Georgetown being anti-black in this round, which means that it is falsifiable, malleable, false positives, no step aside, no listen who took the test, people will lie about being anti-racist, and in this round just proves it, and also psychoanalysis don't need to win it because we can verify through materiality, even if contingency, they're contingently anti-black, which should obviously be rejected for the reasons above. Neurobiology can convert at 23 reasons neurobiological bodies, so conscious, immunity, American conscious, which includes surgical ovarian, region 7, originally conscious, negative, affective values, similar to conscious, unconscious, more important determining human experiences here, including unconscious, and that's right, so from system order, to form automated learning. Now, spirit murder outweighs girl, and all 24, and that 24 spirit murdering and persuasion, aversion that impacts including psyche, and competence and women to destroy to color all the teachers of lower levels of bias, racial attitudes, and reflect larger society, racial bias, no changing this. Is it to white people get them in uncomfortable situations, the spirit murder, the effect, and feeling long effects after feeling less including human races, name to murder the spirit, and car sex checks that they can't imagine things like labor law because it's ineffective for black people, which means it can't solve the culprit evidence. Now, the humanism came in all double terms, as we said, humanism is violent, if they endorse it, then they exclude people, and also it's zero cross-sex proofs because we don't engage in so perm do both, so we're perm do the after and the all to agree about black nihilism, to short white nihilism, to create radical forms of black humanism, which solves in the entirety the stuff Hawkins is an add-on, and also burns as well because it says that we should reject those things, and that humanism is bad, and also he's not that for pessimists, which means we don't. I'm link to this offense. Now go to the cap here, interpretations that this debate is whoever has the best political commitments. Your ballot cannot actualize the party, but it can. So for black liberation in this space, making your ethical commitments to black liberation is a voting issue, makes black people fungible objects in favor of hyper competition, proven by how they fungibilize Bird and Stelly, and we'll probably not talk about her at all in the 2&R, which proves our arguments about how you use black people for competitive incentives, which justifies white supremacy, condos, the voter debates clash through times Q, third, fourth level testing, turns their offense. Now perms do both. Black nihilism is key, it creates solidarity, people saying fuck ICE, the police, protesting, etc., which generates solidarity and galvanizes the collective struggle, which links towards the individualism stuff as well as the localism stuff and the Hester, and there's also no way for them to enforce everybody organizing the same way, which means they can't solve the link back. Black nihilism, net benefit is key inside the debate. Anything else would ignore our concerns, which justifies anti-black bankrupt advocates in debate, which internal link turns all their offense about skills inside the debate because people are anti-black, and it also doesn't negate the affluent level scale of debate. They're reading more evidence. I impact turn this above with labor law, and we are never hip hop but spiritual. This is the psychic biases and implicit biases that Georgetown has. These little slip-ups are example that proves our theory of power that they're racist and homogenizing complete people as all black people as doing hip hop in debate, which is obviously racist. Cites Bernie Sanders, he supported ICE after backing abolition. Turns the alternative means they get cracked down on and can't solve any of their offense. That means they can't solve climate change, and all this status quo means it fails, and there's no trade-off at all. But we internal link turn it, which means that they can't solve any of their offense. Topicality.
Yeah,
okay, what is it? Huh?
You should answer that. They like this.
Shit is embarrassing. Cross-sex is like you do not get niggas jobs. It proves that fiat is bad model debate because you can say, oh, we should use the space for doing shit like the KKK, the Communist Party, etc. But this is the example how you can create opposites for niggas. Do you say, oh, we can do like debate to use, like collective bargaining. We can use labor education. We can get people jobs. And colony and cross-sex, this is like, oh, well, we never said it was about the space. This is a reason why you should fucking lose, drop them independently, because this is the way they use niggas to win, but they never give anything back to niggas.
Okay. The reading warrant evidence also says labor law, everything can be cross-applied to the KKK from framework and everything else.
Like, fuck that shit.
Affirm black nihilism in this debate. One, there is no such thing as a model debate, but different sides of arguments that are not static with fluid Michigan reprocess catches. Favors this as K teams all debate differently, and they don't assume a universal model when coming to a round, which is why we have to hear debates through the battle cannot create nor enforce models. Question which performances and arguments in this debate are desirable. This is about only signals what happens in this round, not other ones. At some point, molding this, there's no such thing as a model debate, but imposing it creates liquidation that determines and denies black debaters the agency to engage in the argumentation they want was invest in the libido drive to mold blackness, whatever it wants to assume value. Just as he is in a negotiation, it's an imposition. It says that whiteness is under attack whenever CSU reads chaos in imposition, which black debaters are forced to constantly argue to justify their existence under a hegemonic model debate. It causes labor exhaustion, burnout, precludes access, three debatability, and that ground the KKK proves that Unis K callouts are bad, our theory is wrong, etc. All test the gas theory, which is very predictable, limit and nihilism and benefit. It creates out vitality, which was done above, limits inevitable teams read Christianity like Georgetown, convoluted politics, etc. Why comfortability decide limits are weaponized to ignore our critiques of debate. Now, and the negation decide they flip negative. We could have had a debate against them, but they chose to read framework in bad faith. This is the example of criminalization of white supremacy that seeks to deputize and weaponize racist norms that strategically against black insurgent argumentation against debaters. Some point 8 proves of predictability limits and ground offense is all inevitable and a self-fulfilling prophecy because they don't give a shit about that because they just care about weaponizing competitive sentence. Now, the 3 lies. 1, fairness is not axiomatic. Reject this. It relies on the notions of race neutrality. Judges hate our arguments, which whitewashes debate and prevents checking anti-blackness in debate. Debate is a game proved wrong, proven by the 1506 bracket, which means there's no impact to fairness. 1, winner, loser, true, but we shouldn't engage in anti-black violence. Now, research bias is self-serving. The reason why they have a strong connection to politics is because they are self-serving and live near Washington, D.C. At best, the research results in watered-down democratic research that doesn't meet communities in need, proved by cross-sex. B, criminalization. Just that it criminalizes people who always do research for socialism and legalism to go against black non-people. If we have an impact turns to the research they want, then the impact turns the endpoint of that research. Now, battle practice 71, remediation. Use the battle to remedy remedy and carve out a space for black critical argumentation appears prove it changes the state of the 18 to change the black shutdown debates and people are prepping and revising their blocks after we're watching Emporia, Towson, and us. Now, 2, sliding scale, maximize anti-racism, treated as a sliding scale. Because we can't solve all things like crap disparities, but it can't refuse no white nihilism in this round. Anything else would be bankrupt and Pixar. Whatever if they make it steals black labor causes psyche burnout, preluding debatability, unpredictable moves. So when I see turns all the fairness and clash offense. Now, fairness. 1, white nihilism to set fairness is white nihilism to seek a psychological way to assume that people are unfairly benefiting from a system that is degrading them. That results from creates white lash in the form of FBI, PRO, surveillance that seeks to degrade blackness, black energy and existence, precluding access and unibusting. It says that the legacy of Emporia, Towson, and Louisville should have not existed in debate, which greenlights anti-DEI politics that denies the benefits of debate, precluding procedural benefits. Now, 3, unfairness inevitable done by the stuff above. All tests can be cross-applied. Clash. Since still required to be bracketed out. No impact. Nobody leaves out to lose to chaos. 1506 bracket proves all causes. Shadows having previously exceeds pairing ChatGPT, AI evidence, and conduit picks all prove fairness. Paradox. No paradox. We don't rely on it equally. Judges like John Kosulis and Bryce Rao would sacrifice the flow and judges lie on their paradigms to paradigms. Now, subject formation. Yes, subject formation. I did it above, but ballots create norms, which means that we don't need to win this because it forces them to get more literary. Now, clash. 1, psychological wages. This at affirming class struggle incentivizes anti-blackness bargaining, and the topic makes workers consent to the system in which workers cash in psychological wages and material wages to reap labor's benefits that exploit black people, causing exhaustion, capitalist labor exploitation. Look, the 2 and C cannot go for research outweighs because they said that capitalism causes extinction, which means that the research would inevitably invest in capitalism and labor, which means that it causes the extinction, a literal death of black people, which means that they cannot go for this as offense. 2, mastery this at imposing a universal model of engagement justifies we master other inferior types of models that justifies anti-black hierarchies and debates and devalue non-humans and terraforming this as an attempt to justify things like fiat away racism and the picket line government, etc. that creates civil comfort to assume we can do business as usual politics that are racist barriers and the logic of anti-blackness that would impact turn any TDA they make. Now, switch side debate on stability. This has switch side creates stability politics like Josh Howard being seen as uncivil the same way black critical debaters are seen as uncivil in debate, which denies agency and causes psychological violence. And a bargaining table, this has switch side is a false bargain. Since team tried to offer this contract to read it on neg, but not for read framework in terms that I can out this app and also proved by Georgetown flipping neg. It fails more an app, not a neg. We advocate for black nihilism debate that loses perms, omissions, and more. Devil's advocate. This has creates unstable politics, proven by how they fungibilize the burden selling.
Okay. Are you ready for process?
1 second.
No worries. Cool. I want to start off by talking about the spirit murder card. The last lines of the evidence mentions how, quote, there is direction and strategy to guide educators making cultural change within schools to better educate black children. I went to the article and it talks about how things such as black students getting kicked out of classrooms at higher rates, or things such as
Yep, you are those IRAs.
Well, it's also
Wait,
like
so your
that's
argument is
one.
that our
Wait,
reading of topicality is
wait.
the
There.
equivalent of
Okay,
reading
no.
black
I think
students
you've
out of
missed.
classroom?
That is one conception of why that happens. But the card itself that we have read in this debate says that when students are spirit murdered, that encourages them to leave debate. They feel self-hatred. They feel less self-worth because of the way that you devalue their education and labor in debate.
Why is the reading of topicality spirit?
Because
Topicality says that we should have debates over the United States federal government. And you also said that our stuff isn't legible, like on case, which we've impact turned, which shows how you've
You
already
said
devalued
you
that
also
labor.
said we were not practical politics on the cap
Exactly.
K. Like these are a bunch of like small examples that aren't as small as you may think they are because they are implicitly racist.
It's like these small examples prove your unconscious bias. It proves our arguments that you have an
I have some
implicit
questions
racism
about
that you do not challenge.
You're honestly
Which is
just
our argument
like,
about
hey,
Go
this
ahead and
is
ask questions about topicalities.
it's like this is the
Can I
example
ask a
of
question,
y'all.
please?
Like I don't even know why you're trying
I
to
ask
skirt around this.
questions?
Like this is the example of you being racist. You're like, oh, I actually want to ask a question about topicality because
Yeah.
Council Lumpy is frying my ass right
Chris,
now.
Chris,
Like,
let Arnav ask
Am I
you
gonna
go
Chris,
ahead,
please.
ask your
Yes,
question. I don't
questions.
care. Go ahead.
Okay, topicality. You said that the end point of this is that there is no form of a model. Instead, that we should have debates about debate. What is the end point of
Whoa,
debates about
okay. First of all, it is about this round. You cannot impose a model. There's 2 more rounds left. It's practically meaningless because we've already gotten the iteration over the season, and nothing's happened.
Was there an explicit counter-interp on T?
Look.
Okay, so
Well, it was what did you not say?
How
vote?
does-
Oh yeah, I said actually yes. I
If
said
it's
pro
for me,
black
no.
nihilism in this debate.
wait, actually, I want to go
Okay.
back to the case briefly. You said that uncomfortability causes solvency.
Yep.
Why is this the case? I mean,
Because
like,
when
what
judges
is-
are uncomfortable, they realize that there's implicit anti-blackness proven inside this
how does
round.
it solve spirit?
It solves spirit murder because it gets the judges to say, oh, there's something obviously wrong here. That's why I'm uncomfortable, and it settles your uncomfortability by saying, hey, this shit is fucked up,
Wait,
and I
I'm
should vote
confused
against
how the
Georgetown in this
ballot
round.
I'm confused how the ballot unsettles.
Because we have made arguments about why these instances of anti-blackness, but also your reading of framework causes spirit murder. The ballot
Wait,
resolves those things because we have made
we will
arguments for
contest
why
that claim.
supposed
Ballot-
drops in the buckets create rivers that ultimately culminate in things that are progressive for debate.
Okay, the claim about like on topicality again. Like, I guess you said that the ballots can create norms. I guess why is this the case? What about voting affirmative? You said that there
So
are no
this is
models.
the example.
How can ballots create
So this is
norms
the
simultaneously
example.
and
This
there not be models?
okay. This is the
Oh,
example.
okay, wait, I got this.
Go ahead.
So like for models, it's in pairs, right? Chaos are inevitable proves that your ballot stuff doesn't solve, but our stuff solves because debate can get more progressive. So chaos are inevitable. Voting for you does not make them less inevitable, but voting for us says that Georgetown AC has been anti-black in this round, and that solves. Ballot proximity is 1 million% apt.
10. 5:40.
Alright, I'm gonna use the restroom.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Okay, it was sent. T case.
Are there cards?
There's a card, yeah. Is everyone good?
No.
Is panel good? Okay. Just let me know, Chris.
Okay, I'm good.
Good? Okay. Vote negative 2 Grace Rigorous debate. This is the semifinals of the National Debate Tournament. Two extremely accomplished and adored careers are on the line, which will be the filter for your decision. Here is my judge instruction for each of you. Start your evaluation by asking yourself, why do you love this activity? Maybe it's the research, the card cutting, the rush that you get when you break a new file, the joy that you feel when your team wins. I would bet a lot of money that whatever it is tied to the rigorous back and forth argumentation that debate provides. We all have a ton of interest. We read, we write, we have conversations with friends and family, but there is something unique about a space that forces contestation in a competitive way. Only our model has a role for negation and contestation. Before I get into the line by line, here is what you know for sure. 1, debate is a game. There's one winner and one loser. You cannot send us both to finals or assign a double win, and it might be more than a competition, but fundamentally competition will determine the next 2 hours. 2, debaters play to win. Neither Curtis nor I are about to concede the rest of our career. Ask yourself why. It's because we adore this game and we want to win. You should evaluate the rest of the debate on that basis and assume competition overcodes CSU's moves. If it did not, they would deprioritize line by line or their request for your ballot, which they will not. 3, fairness is an impact. impact. This is not paradox LD bullshit. This is people's blood, sweat, and tears for this activity unfairly and unpredictably shifted the terrain of the game without prior warning in advance of the debate or tournament artificially inflates one team's work, passion, and sacrifice over the others. Refuse to do that for the same reason that you want your debaters to be fairly adjudicated and evaluated for their work. For without fairness, the game loses its form. Well, it is not the case that simply being fair makes the game good. It is the case that being a good game requires being fair, whether they enjoy competition, research, speeches, or they're seeing their friends. The fact that all of it is undergirded by competition proves that fairness is a prerequisite to everything else. But importantly, winning and fairness impact does not require when the game is perfectly fair. Obviously, there are structural factors that tilt the scales. Instead, we just need to win the game is better when each side is procedurally predictable and fair burden, and the game is worse when that burden is utilized shifted with no limit principle. And any reason they give for status quo debate bad must be solved by the ballot. Otherwise, it cannot possibly be offense for them, nor can it outweigh a very intrinsic connection between the win conditions in this debate and the decision you render on who will be an NDT finalist. Yes, this debate is a question of models. Concede low down in the 2AC when they said balance shape norms. That is our point. Models evaluation is best. One choosing between interpretations is about what norm we could create, so it's illogical and impossible for you to evaluate it. Otherwise, to just this debate, you would justify in every debate, which means it is a model if you win a fairness impact. Assume it's at 100, given they can justify just this debate all the time. Voting for CSU does not redress past harm. It clearly does not solve bad judging practices, being won the NDT last year, and this shouldn't happen this season. Proves there's no connection, but it also does not mean that voting for Georgetown on team means legitimizing those practices. Yes, fuck those judges. Fuck judges who ignore the technique. The end point of all that, though, is that you should be better and vote in this debate based on technique, not calls to align with a particular model of debate that fail to establish causality between your way of voting and solving their harms. What voting does do, and when you vote negative, is affirm that the semifinals of the national debate tournament should be a debate, not a debate about debate, because what does that lead to? But a debate that actually utilizes the unique gift and privilege and opportunity that we have to be here and engage in this competitive academic space. Topicality does not link to their models to sad. One, they can say whatever they want, they just not get to win for reasons other than proving desirable in the resolution. That was our interpretation. Two, radical debate takes many forms, including case on the neg and topical chaos, to defend the resolution in unique ways. All of that is included under our interpretation, and defending means that we make radical debate better by guaranteeing predictable prep and clash. Also proves that it's not spirit murder, and we internal link the internal link turn it in position is wrong. No link, that was our interpretation, which is above. But comparing topicality in a debate where we can actually debate over it to actual imposition is trivializing, so you should reject it. Read it on the negative is best because debaters want to win. They'll spend hundreds of hours thoroughly researching topic from both sides on the basis of expectation. The research will translate into additional wins. That is good. One, form. The process of iterative research makes us more humble, reflexive, and able to adapt to new information. Two is content. Debate motivates young people to dig into the most important issues of the current era, like worker power, solidarity, fascism, legal reform, political economy. While no individual debater can unilaterally make those things happen, it is true that many debaters go on to work towards the thing they debate about and independently insisting that because no one debater can do it all, it does not matter. It's a neoliberal worldview that proves their model of debate is bad and it's up to with everything said on the case. Research outweighs their offense. Individual debates do not shape who we are as people. That is outweighed by friends, family, school, religion, TikTok. But the total number of hours that we sink into research for the course of a season or career do affect people who become. It also turns their offense because engaging with their scholarship is good. It's actually better to vote for a model of debate that incentivizes deep engagement. That is ours. Every reason they have for why labor debates are bad are neg arguments. They can say Trump nukes CBR solvency and makes it actively bad. That links to every single topic affirmative, which is best. It forces robust debates about the way that unions can or can't be good. That's a good controversy. This is not a set of questions, but instead one that ought to be researched and engaged with by young people. Limits are not inevitable. Our interpretation is the ash should defend the hyper desirability of the resolution statement. Otherwise, the next have the burden of a joiner. There's only one thing that everyone has advanced in the tournament, which is the resolution. It shapes prep on both sides. They explode it. They don't really have a counter interpretation except it's just this debate, which unlimits. That was the model's explanation above. The Christianity AF LOL was topical, which means that all core negative positions apply. No link to uncomfortability. T is not whiteness, which is done above. They have to win. And internal link to spirit murder to get this offense. CSU voting for CSU's model of debate should make you uncomfortable by asking you to eschew substantive debate, which I've already established each and every one of you must care about. I flipped neg, so no link to the litigation aside. I flipped neg because I wanted the ball since I'm a senior and I want my career in my own hands. Not in bad faith. Topicality is engagement, is a critique of their affirmative because their entire app is about debates. This is obviously an answer to that, and it's basically just reading a critique back at them. It's not criminalization, and it's bad to trivialize the two, which was done above. The 0-6 bracket is actually our argument. People in that bracket come back because they want to improve and win more and care about competition. Research is not self-serving. Everyone benefits from legal education because it allows people to engage in better movement building since they understand where to place pressure on the state and how to avoid things like crackdown. The bog evidence in the 1NC is fantastic. It was dropped. It says that engaging in labor organizing and understanding labor law is necessary because the price tag for ideological purity is sacrificing millions who need labor laws protections to do things like make a livable wage. No link to criminalization decide, which was above because our interpretation does not impose anything, but rather sets the standard for how you should evaluate this debate. Ballot proximity is a neg argument. You cannot shut down debate because voting affirmative does not solve any of their offense, which are already unpacked above, but it does directly connect to win conditions in this debate. Picks are irrelevant because we did not read one. Fairness thing is wrong. We do not assume that things are perfectly fair, nor do we tie ignoring ways that debate, nor does it require ignoring the ways that debate has been anti-black, which is above, PLRL surveillance, etc. are all wrong, and it's bad to conflict it with topicality, which is contestable and about our interpretation. The legacy decide you can affirm those debaters and and still agree that our interpretation is best, that does not require that you disavow those debaters as people or their contributions they've made, but instead that you make a decision about which model is best for debate going forward. AI, condo picks, etc. do not kill our model because AI produces shitty research. Conditionality loses to going for conditionality, and picks lose to competition. The topic arguments, you should group all of them. The topic is good. Debaters have jobs. They will have jobs and are impacted by labor. It's also immediately relevant to their lives. Trump would have affected literally any topic. So Trump bad or Trump thumps does not prove this new topic is uniquely bad, nor does it prove it's white lash. It's not a capitalist topic, but instead lets us challenge capitalism by building worker power and solidarity. Unions allow us to confront those issues head on. Verse 25. It's easy to feel powerless. The U.S. enabled genocide reporting Americans regarding public service forces. Capable to make how can we find these actors to fight racists, but organizing union provides the means to build power house and the capital in the state general strike, on the economy and forcing concessions. The U.S. persecutes groups. Unions must become a means of collective advocacy. Organize produce people around class building. Build genuine solidarity. No link to the mass read dissent, and it is trivializing to assert that there is one. This is the same answer I've been giving to basically all of these dissents. The team reforming dissent is wrong. There's no link to it because topicality is debated out, which means it cannot be an imposition on them. No civility dissent. We do not deny agency. They can read this affirmative. They just do not get to win for reasons other than proving the resolution is true. It's not a false bargain because everyone gets the same 13 minutes to speak, and all 5 of you people I trusted to evaluate this debate neutrally. Permutations do not reckon nihilism because the whole point is it is nihilistic and it is a rejection of bargaining, so obviously read it on the neg. So follow their offense. The devil's advocate decided was a blip at the bottom with no warrants, so you should largely ignore it. Fiat is good, and imagining desirable political changes regardless of feasibility is good, otherwise we see politics to the right. Abolition of slavery, for instance, seems unlikely and impossible, but it was good that abolitionists imagined anyways. Case. I think we've all agreed you should not adjudicate things that happen outside of the debate. You were not here, you cannot possibly know what did or did not occur, and every impact on topicality is a reason that you should bracket any allegations that did not occur between the 2 hours constraints of start time and decision time. I don't remember what page conditionality was on, but I'm gonna do it here. Conditionality is good. It's a key to revolutionary testing and key to negation. Anything else is arbitrary because the negative does not have the constraint of conditionality imposed in advance. The negative's only job is to test the affirmative from multiple angles. That's also most real world. It forces them to get deeper on app research and strategizing because they have to be able to defend the app from every angle. It is not linked to their critique of conditionality. It's not fluidity, but instead this is a competitive space of debate, and therefore the negative should do its job of testing. This is all of our offense on topicality and demonstrates the reason why our model is good, because allowing the negative to test the affirmative from multiple angles and read different conflicting literature bases is good, since it forces all of us to research them more in depth. I have time to read card. Like, I'll read like, I already did that, but can I read the card? I'll put this here. Engaging with the horizons of legal possibility, link turns their offense clear and a little bit of common attitude is that if you're interested in the moral political duty, you need to leave the law to the technocrats organizing, things like that society, which I do not allow students to live the plaintiffs and make the best arguments they can because they are fulfilling their ethical duty. Learning occurs, the point is law, and morals and politics are intertwined, not the same. Legal reasoning is actually a repertoire of rhetorical moves, academies, lawyers must possess useful knowledge on, absorbed by theorists or activists. Lawyers know the large shapes of processes, how right is defined, what right is defined, how right is enforced, progressive. Students sometimes tell themselves law is gobbledygook, but you can assist movements if you know how to spread the right gobbledygook, even if you doomed to fail. A legal case may contribute to social justice. Litigation creates a focal point of energy around which a community can mobilize. The claim law is constrained by a rich metalogical capitalism is just plain wrong. Legal education empower students and then put them in touch with their own capacity to take control. Critical legal pedagogy unfreeze entrenched habits of mind to infuse legal rules, demands to content, train them to argue for the impossible, provide a forum for public conscious raising, show the existing social order is not immutable, and unions are essential to that. Thompson introduced the labor movement that has lofty goals, has not been perfect. That is only one part of the story. Labor unions have been at the center of civil rights, organized labor-backed campaigns against discrimination, facilities, housing, education, and voting by providing financial legal support, publicity, and lobbying. Labor mobilized around 400,000 for the Watch on Washington labor, raised wages for all workers, but workers have paid less than their white male counterparts. The union wage movement is even greater. Unions protect against termination, allow workers to raise concerns between the city found. Union membership is associated with reductions in racial resentment.
We'll wait for that.
I don't have them in my lunches. Alright, almost done. I'm good whenever, but I assume you want to wait for minutes.
Yeah.
Center wall.
You sent them. Okay, they were signed.
You good?
Yep.
So in other rounds, when you debate policy teams, you're more inclined to be like, talking trash or just like dissing them more. Why in this debate don't you do that with us?
Wait, sorry, what?
Yeah, genuine question. Like in policy debates, people are just like, oh, you're garbage, and say like a bunch of like wild things. Why in this debate don't you do that with us?
I don't know how true that is of me specifically.
Oh,
but
yeah, I mean,
also,
we've seen like rounds on YouTube.
But also,
of y'all,
like
debating
I
this
will
shit.
do that in this debate. If I think you give a dog shit 1 AR, I will tell you.
Oh, whoa.
Like that's like it's not
Oh my
different.
God, I'm so
Like, it's
scared.
just we're just chilling.
What the fuck?
Insert LeBron me.
Alright.
the fuck?
Well, you know
This
what?
is literally what you asked me, so I don't know why this is
God,
an
that
action
was-
moment, but okay.
Go.
Okay.
Okay.
Holy shit.
The Thompson card.
Yeah.
Why is it good to defend authors who side with Cesar Chavez?
Did not know Thompson did that.
Ooh, you're wrong.
You wanna bet? Like,
No, I'm genuinely
put
saying.
$1 right now.
No, I'm not
I
betting.
don't have one.
I'm not betting. I'm saying I did not have knowledge of this previously. If that's true, then
that's
let's
not
strike
about
Thompson.
knowledge. I'm asking why should we read authors
Well,
that endorse Cesar Chavez?
We probably shouldn't.
Okay, we probably shouldn't. Why?
Yeah. So like, if that's true, then strike Thompson.
Oh, perfect.
If that's true,
Alright,
strike
well,
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You said the MSU stuff non-verifiable. Yeah, it is photos.
Oh, didn't
So-
say MSU is non-verifiable. I know Bo was there.
Oh,
But I
okay,
also
then.
know like
So
Bo
what
saw
did
that
you do
debate.
to rectify these things with with your relationship with other kids?
With MSU?
Just generally, like, yeah.
I mean, with MSU, I emailed them after the tournament and like expressed that I was
So when-
sorry for what occurred and for how they felt, and offered to talk about it more if they wanted.
So when they were like, hey, you've like read, Gordon before, you called them Twitter warriors, and you said, oh, we can agree to disagree. You don't think that's a little paternalistic?
I don't think I said we can agree to disagree. I said that I think we do disagree about some components of the debate, but that I obviously cared a bunch that like they felt bad. Like
Then
I,
why?
I
If you
told them
cared,
both
wait.
that.
If you cared a bunch, why'd you keep reading the card?
I've not read the card since that debate.
I think we even called you out on the card. And you
Yeah.
kept reading after.
You've read Gordon.
Yeah, you've read it before us.
I did not read the card after this debate.
Wait, so you read it 2 times after 2 people called you out, and you somehow didn't read it again? That seems illogical.
I don't think anyone had called us out in that way before.
What? Okay, that's just not true for sure.
Okay.
But also, like, this is our point. Like, making current debates about like rehashings of past debates is like not a useful way
It's
to
not-
engage in
I'm
this
sure it's not
debate.
useful when you're the one
We've
who's
already-
doing all the,
we've-
Yeah.
the
we have
biases.
already
this
had
stuff
this
right here, like
debate.
it's not useful, is like those unconscious biases, right? Like we
Well,
shouldn't
no,
be
it's
held
like
accountable.
we've
No,
already-
hold on,
we've
hold on.
already
It's
had
like
this
we shouldn't
debate.
be held accountable for like this notion of whiteness and anti-blackness that exists in debate. But then that's fine. I'll move on. Chaos, you know they're inevitable. Why try and fiat them out of existence?
Well, our argument is that you read a 1AC that is about what debates should look like. The entire app
we
is
didn't.
about
We said it was
debates.
this round.
Well, right.
There's
but,
2 more rounds left.
Okay, so two things, right? One is that we've said saying just this round is inevitably about what debate should be about. 2 is that topicality is basically a critique of that because we disagree with your vision for debate.
The order is the cap pay, and then it's sending it out.
Sorry, you said cap in the case.
Yes. Everyone good?
Not yet.
Or okay.
Wait, that's another wrong.
Oh no, it's there.
Concede the permutation, take the critique, but they've mishandled root cause. Racial capitalism creates hierarchies, the political economy that requires the imperial exploitation and, quote, super exploitation of black laborers. Bergen-Stelly says that capitalism is the mediating condition by which the anti-blackness sustains itself using labor and is able to enforce the hierarchies of values that results in anti-blackness. No new one-hour answers to this tagged and dropped as Turns case for. It's the only word they said on the case for why anti-blackness is prevalent is because of materiality, but they concede that capitalism is the root cause of that. So they're not able to solve for it, but it's the root cause of black nationalism too. Their perception produces a failure understanding of black suffering. Marking blackness are meaningless, which drives increasing suicide rates of black youth and actively debates over the totality of the black experience, which runs counter to the black radical tradition. Hawkins 25. Black nihilist waste essential conditions lead black people to conclude life as meaningless, absence of meaning, potential for increased rates of youth suicide, right. Systems of racial capitalism does not represent totality of the black experience of human history. Parallels began with when resistance, slavery, retain humanity values, and cultural histories that offer a broader genealogy, youth suicides, attempted suicides, and ideation on the rise, increased faster than in order to speak of suicide from the perspective of the enslaved potential to turn to Afro-Pacifist philosophies, and anti-black racism national takes existence of the modern world, offers a different perspective of black suffering that is not need to fatalism or resignation in the case. First argument I'm extending is no difference. Politics is to basically takes out all the cases as well as the overview. Extend the argument. Reject identity-based difference. That politics is the rule of political orientation. It means handling conversational authority to those who most easily fit in archetypal social categories, regardless of personal experience or knowledge, and essentially it exercises the voice of black people to those in the room, which replicates rather than counters the social biases. Those most likely to be left out of conversations are often the most directed and affected by social injustices like the incarcerated and attention disposed people. That direct attention away from change itself, with obsession over the exchange rate between the attention and material economy, while misrepresenting the stakes of conflict as the failure to center the right topics as opposed to achieving the right goals, which ultimately advocates responsibility for political action. That's the Taiwo evidence. Now, the judge instruction to each of you is exactly what Taiwo was criticizing. Assuming your ballot can rectify spirit murder because of things that you have done in previous rounds or your orientation on debate teams is a definition of guilt assuasion because all your ballot does is click for a certain team on top of it. The voting issue they made was nonsense. Taiwo does not say that black communities are bad. Instead, he is a black man who is skeptical of using deference in the academy. Any voting issues like these are reasons to reject the argument, but we're largely warrantless and just assorted as voting issues without a warrant. So we obviously get new to our answers to any of them. Independently, there's a diversity watching decide, and endorsing political strategies based on identity guarantees and the complicity with anti-blackness, actively engaging in anti-black revolutionary politics from Linda Thomas Greenfield voting, vetoing UN ceasefire resolution, Scott Harris, Trump's housing admin who vetoes expansions of affordable housing, and Colin Powell leading imperialism in Vietnam and Panama and Catalyzing rights defense of wars in Iraq and Afghanistan proves that listening to the 1AC magnifies every 1AC impact. Their nihilistic turn call, collapses of resignation, despair, and suicide, life affirmation is a net benefit and a reason to reject the Hawkins 25 Afghanistan nihilistic turn only possible, reduction being end of the world, nihilistic turn must be balanced life from philosophy, black is to be experienced as something other than social death that causes the rest about racism as opposed to combative consequences from the orientation, manifestation, despair, the resignation, and suicide. The view that no cure also recognize now the need to fully resign oneself to living in this world as it exists, acknowledging identities exist, but perceiving black society resistance goal. It struggles like it should lead to empowerment, resistance, head set of resignation theory as it invigorates change, whereas it's about stopping revolutionary struggle, futile makes essential necessity, affirmation of life and the love of blackness. They're going to say that they are not pessimistic. This is a specific critique of Nietzsche's quote unquote Nietzsche's removal from the world and removal of meaning, which means it definitely still applies. Now, I'll go to humanism, bad labor later, but I'm going to jump down to labor law is good. They did not really grapple with the Bog evidence, specifically says that the details of labor law are uniquely beneficial regardless of our orientation to workers. And the next part of that uniquely says that as if, even if black workers or certain groups are not able to access rights, the way of learning how to labor organize reduces inequality. Often the NLRA destroys workers' rights. It's better than doing the NLRA's foundation to build off of them in the immediately bad matter. The 24 caterpillars showing off of weaponry of strikes, slow down, reducing the UAW was conquered bad by any objective matter. If not for the NLRA, these battles, laborers will likely lose. These discussions are really specific to the which types of laws should be accepted and what sacrifices should be made if collective bargaining is now endangered. It could be becoming through overnight repeal of the NLRA. Mark the card. NLRA. The only word they said is that labor law is not accessible to black people. This is just fundamentally was warrantless and not have a claim to it. Our evidence above indicates that it's still engageable regardless of your racial orientation or even if you're in the union, because gains can occur outside of it. Now, next is the ontology debate. The only warrant to which he said was materiality. Racial capitalism means it is not materially ontological, but instead by capitalism, which is dropped on the cap K and cross-applied. Neurobiology is wrong. Mode relationships are determined by empirical resignification, which is product of material conditions. People don't inevitably associate blackness with carcerality. They associate it because of repeated exposure to disproportionate incarceration rates. Two, it's lower credible than creation. It's more homeopathy. Vera 21. The pseudosciences that the advantages of non-native phosphorylity sciences epistemically warranted. The can be understood as theories that present robust evidence. It is not academic status, but the methodology even recognizes the academy does not make it a science. If these are creationists, publish papers that on turn into scientists. And the empiricists prove it to Han 20 Supreme Court decision on the state policy extended side resources to aggregation associated with additional 1.4 years of education. If people increases in wages, 3/4% reduction in poverty, the gap in adult health was reduced by 1/3. Access by public hospitals was reduced in mortality, employment, high level, relative improvements in pay, clean water, reduced mortality of black home ownership has doubled the percentages. Attending school were comparable high school graduation rate for black people was 90% the proportion of black physicians doubled. Attorneys increased 8-fold, engineers 40-fold. Black earnings was 4% proportion of classified as poor declined to 24%. These gains will account for the reductions in mortality, but further gains will overcome the vestiges of historical harm. Now, I'll answer the overview and any other floating voters. The hip hop voter is incorrect. We did not. The card did not say that it is only that they are hip hop, but rather was critiquing their aesthetic. Even then, it is research at the argument, not the team. Now, I'll answer the very overview at the top here. The voting affirmative does not check anti-blackness in debate. Their evidence about spirit murder is instead about schools and academia and using things such as not kicking black kids out of the classroom and analyzing what the reading the topicality to a voluntary activity is obviously atrocious. The vulgarity argument is wrong. They did not really explain why uncomfortability causes solvency. If anything, attributing your ballot to uncomfortability being the reason to vote affirmative is exactly what links to all of our guilt illustration arguments above. Because instead of thinking about the real reasons for way we can quantify anti-blackness, you really chalk it up to uncomfortability. Prioritizing proximity sanitizes their own political title, and 20 the call to listen to the most effective that means handling conversational authority to fit within the social categories regardless of experience. Standpoint epistemology calls for difference. Differing you can work to counter the marginalized groups' interest access groups and social advantage gained through prior advantage those who are likely to be in the room because they are systemically different from the people that they are asked to represent. They just want the appearance of deference, supports committees, performance, and sanitizes or retracts them, even the fact that the differ has enough in the room privilege should be of the consequence.
You was like,
Y'all didn't extend. Y'all did extend humanism critique, right? It's like the cards.
Or was it just case? Like you kicked perms and went for case only?
Yeah, it was just case.
Okay.
557. Yeah. There.
556.
Is there a dog?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna say. Okay, 545.
545.
Well, I'm gonna use a bad move since we keep taking this.
Oh wait, look, he's saying.
If you and the worst what's his last name? That's not that bad. You think it's gonna be a good thing? It's a long last name. You just make some shit up. It's not a Japanese. The last part of that sounds Japanese. A little bit. Takashi. Stupid. And you thought she was going to say something ignorant. So, ditto. That's a long last name.
Is everybody good for an order? Alright. It is going to be case and then framework. Okay. Alright. Georgetown good?
Yeah, okay.
Alright, cool. Curtis? Yeah. Okay.
Georgetown is engaged in white nihilism, voting access, fuck that. Black nihilism is a gateway issue, and the only impact of ballot to solve this debate is about debate in Georgetown. Racist investments in their engagement within unlike insurgent labor prove our theory of power every single time they engage in that type like this is not a ticky-tacky voting issue, but a reason why sperm murder outweighs and proves our impacts of and one in value systems create racial resentment that causes us psychological wages, white is creating sperm murder or metaphysical enslavement that spills into debate, creating union busting and black unionization justifies literal bleeding and killing black people. Drop the examples of the PRO and surveillance are them, which means that they definitely link vote after black nihilism as a spiritual prayer in response to psychological wages and union busting and debate, which carves up space of fusion that happens and voting officers strike against false promises of the resolution in order for them to solve violence. Can we get an amen? They said don't eval our stuff at the debate. Yes, eval our stuff because it's a question of structures and ideologies you benefit from. Spirit murder is about school is wrong. It's about debate because we have contextualized it that as such, and which means that we solve our offense. Now they said essentialized voice, it's high will stuff. No essentialized voice. Feeling back here, race black debaters, vibrating framework. And me and Curtis do it for don't do it for ourselves by endorsing a community and legacy which is empowering it and which is empowering. They said we left out the incarcerated. No, obviously not because critical argumentation includes things like abolitionist studies, which includes the incarcerated. They said a conflict in political action. We solve it, conceded the permutation on the cap and the link term means we got people to say fuck dice, the police, etc. Creates mass solidarity and solves extinction per their own evidence. Conceded means no take backs, good dissuasion. Just had the judge voting half is good. Drop anything is depoliticizing that outweighs because it would make anti-blackness inevitable. And we all agree access is a good thing, which means that you know that outweighs and there's the only thing your ballot can solve. They said the ballot stuff I already did it above. Yes, it causes norms. They dropped it and things like striking slurs, people watching Emporia and tossing and refining the blocks all prove that we access the internal links to skills that they don't, but they also can't make it because chaos are inevitable, which means it doesn't flow with them, which means conceding it doesn't solve. They said racial root cause drop link turn and perm means we solve racial capitalism, but the Hawkins 25 evidence does not say things like racial capitalism, and it also said suicide. That's obviously a reason to reject the team. Proves that Georgetown again is fundamentalizing black life, and also important Trump again, which means that they can't solve their offense. It only proves that they can view blackness as an object of investigation that can only die now. But they said that it comes from a black man. Our argument that's not irrelevant. That's our argument. They said diversity. Washington just had to answer this above. They do it more because they whitewash debate. Suicide. No perm. I didn't answer this. They said the Nietzsche stuff. Yes, it is about Nietzsche, but we said nihilism is generative in debate and conceded link turn. Solves above. They said abolishing the NLRA. No link. No link. It's about this debate and workers' rights. And link turns it. And they also dropped it. And that we get the permutation, which means that it is good for workers because we create mass solidarity. Han 20 empirics is obviously wrong. Card is ancient. SCOTUS is getting cooked right now by Trump. And things like deportations, legalized racial profiling, all outweigh. And anti-black systems around hip hop. Yes, it's voter since you applied to take the outcomes of racial homogenizing causes black debaters to leave debate. Now the cap K on framework. Now conditionality make the article commitments of black liberation conditions the voting issue because they fundamentalize people like Burton Stelly, which is a dropped example, which means that their performance in this round is bad. All their arguments are in the context of Netflix and testing, which we've impacted in the way and they do things like education because black people are not your fucking test toys. Georgetown reject the team. It's about your commitments of life. black people, and you should reject them because it proves that you should reject them, and they're unethical. Drop the link to spiritual prayers, causes mass all dirty, which I did above. Go to framework now. Counter, insert, vote. Have to affirm black nihilism in this debate. Care about black insurgent argumentation over the racist endorsement of debate. Now they dropped every dissad by name. Liquidation dissad. You should be suspicious of colony for categorizing us as non-rigorous debaters. Drop there is no such thing as a model or limits. Limits do not exist because chaos are inevitable. And more importantly, your ballot cannot enforce a model, which means that they can't solve. Proven by different arguments and styles of debate. They're undefinable, and attempting to define a model creates attempts to mold black debaters into white systems that they don't want to identify with, which causes psychological bias via the TVA switch I debate, which means instead you should say fuck that. Now the senior stuff. This
It's the reason to reject the team, because they fucking weaponized my senior against me, 9 names, getting empathy from y'all 5 using the fucking end of my debate career. We are on a high road now. You should vote after to keep that shit going. It's bigger than fucking me or Carly. It's about the community of debaters that is sitting right in front of you, and the reason you should reject the team for it.
Now they said ballot shape norms is wrong, it doesn't solve this, it's capital, they dropped it, and that individual ballot said debate seems small, but they dropped that. It's the same logic that tells you not to go vote, which is depoliticizing it, and makes sense like it's inevitable. They said drop that, it revitalizes Curtis and other black youth in the room through a performance and its collectivization, because a lot of key debaters want to see Curtis win right now. Now we said flip that, and Ned Connolly wanted the all. This is a lie, and reason to reject the team vote. You can identify this because you know that when they debated Nega 88 Connolly to it anyways, which means they are lying about policing in order to skirt out accountability. They also dropped the flip negation dissad, which means that there's stuff about fairness and clash is all self-fulfilling prophecy, and they only flip negatives to criminalize black debaters, which is the reason to reject the team. Now, they said affirm a legacy of black debaters will vote neg. This is a ballot pick. What the fuck? Steals black labor, causes psychological violence. Drop. It's unpredictable mood. So when he picks more words on highlighted authors, which means they can't agree with us. Now, fairness one nihilism dissad. They drop. That is the psychological wages the whitest to give black people badges of inferiority. That impact is white lash to outweighs procedural fairness. It justifies the PRO and FBI and surveillance to come back again. No way because of white nihilism, which is conceded down trivializing dissad. Obviously not true because people literally experience violence in debate, but their invocation that is trivializing whitewashes debate, which again is proof that their anti-black union busting dissad is not trivializing because voting for them justifies things like Louisville, Towson, Rutgers, the Wicked Warrior, etc. should have not existed, which precludes black art participation and prevents procedural equity, which means black debaters don't come to clash in the first place. Dissad, fairness, impact, no impact. 1506 bracket proves they don't come back for competitive incentives because a lot of debaters still go 1506 all the time. Now fairness, paradox, no paradox. Drop. We have judges like John Casulis and Bryce Rowe would sacrifice the flow and just lines to our face and proves and also treated as a structural and procedural issue that was above. Now yes, subject formation stuff is irrelevant because ballot shape norms. Now the clash stuff, the distortion dissad, the model of debate is fiat. This is terraforming dissad. Fiat is bad because it assumes that we could fiat things away like racism at the picket line, etc., which means white supremacists outmaneuver activists in the courtrooms, which means they can't solve. Drop the psychological wages dissad, and that it caused extinction. Affirming class struggle incentivizes anti-blackness among aging workers, which causes psychological and material wages to endorse things like capitalism. And 2, the mastery. 3, terraforming dissad. I did it above, which means that unions do not enable black debaters to fight back. Now ideological purity is bad for livable wages. It's obviously wrong. We're not ideological purity. It's just about this debate, nothing about voting. And Georgetown actualizes those things. Now switch debate dropped every answer bargaining table dissad is false bargain. They would read things like framework in terms of bracket of dissad, mood casing, extinction outweighs, and it also does create devil's advocate dissad because they dropped the fungibilization of British Daily means they can't assault their offense and it justifies anti-black politics and civility dissad because it pathologizes the black debaters as uncivil for reading things on the app. Now they said research equals to win. That is a reason to reject the team. Proves they categorize their model of debate as inacceptable. The liquidation dissad obviously impacts sensitivity because it only molds black debaters into the humanistic desires that they want to engage in, which means that our theory of power is true because it's about European humanism and enlightenment errors. They said pessimism equals a negative argument. No, it's not a negative argument because the ballot is generative neoliberal worldview with the individual impacts right above. We solve through collectivization and now logic. You can also not affirm and be nihilistic and optimistic in policy making so they don't meet our optics.
Sorry, I wrote it down somewhere. 5:40. I'm gonna put your AirPods in because it's going too long. T, the K page or wherever else you had condo, and then the case.
Sorry, K and what?
TK case.
T.
Okay. Is everyone good? Right. Vote negative for a model of rigorous debate. This space is unique. We do not just come here to discuss ideas. We are forced to compete and answer one another. This is why we all love debate most out of any activity, which is analysis that has fully been dropped in the 1AR. CSU has not answered fundamental questions like why are we here? Why this activity and not others? Your meta instruction is to ask yourself, why do you keep coming back? Bo, why did you spend your summer leading a lab at the UNIF 8 years ago? Why do you come back to debate, take over a program that had died in McAllister, even though you're doing it on your own with little funding and support? Alex, why did you come back to this activity as a coach and judge? Why do you travel to tournaments? Why did you volunteer to judge the semis despite not being obligated? Marco, why did you come back to coach Amory despite living in DC with a demanding and full-time job? Michaela and Julian, why have you led a lab at the DDI with me the past last 2 summers. What has drawn you back to your alma maters to be involved with their teams? The reason is that debate is a distinct activity from everything else, and you should prioritize an interpretation that saves it on how you vote in this debate. That's a model. CSU can absolutely knock it out of this. Concede on the 1AR, where in the case where they said balance cause norms. We are conceding that. The 2AR does not get takes seat backsies. They are also with their entire solvency claim. It's worth on status quo debate being bad. So in order for them to have any solvency at all, they would have to hope to set a normal model. That means that you should vote negative if you think the debate should be about the world, about what kinds of political economy we want, about how we can or cannot reclaim the law for its positive ends, about how we should theorize about political economy, anti-violence, etc. This does not require you to disavow the black radical tradition, but rather the debate should be about strategies. They have not engaged in that because they have not proposed a strategy, but instead have tried to make this debate insular within itself. But make this a debate about debate. What is the end point of that? Where does that lead us? And at what point do we stop debating about debate and actually debate about something independently? They dropped all of our research internal links. It turns all of their internal links to radical insertion of argumentation. Reading this that's okay on the negative. Bargaining your topical debate is best because it forces in-depth debates. Debaters want to win and therefore will spend hours upon hours cutting cards about the topic, about the world, and therefore learning. This makes them better people because they're more able to adapt to new information, be more humble and reflexive, and it also motivates them to engage with things like solidarity, work of power, and bargaining, all of which was just dropped by the 1AR. Now, a framing issue for a lot of the line by line. The 1AR was just asserting that we dropped disads that all of you know the Twinsy answered by name. You should hold the line on new 2AR arguments because I cannot predict it, which gives them an OP advantage. The ballot can absolutely enforce the model. Conceded that on the case page, no takebacks. The 1AR needed to pick and choose and did not. NDT does not lock black debaters into a white system. 1, they've dropped they can read whatever they want. They should not get to win for reasons other than prove the resolution is true. 2, they've dropped that our model captures black and such argumentation better. Critiques on the negative topical chaos. They creatively interpret the resolution and what it means to offend all solve black and such argumentation, but in a way that preserves their role for the negative, which means that you do not have to disavow black and such argumentation or to vote negative in this debate. You just have to say that a model of debate that actually has argumentation is better than one that does not. But it is also offense because those debates are better. People are more research. They engage with black scholarship and literature more so than in their model where no one does any of that because it is all a debate about debate, which needs to be within itself instead of taking it elsewhere. No one has weaponized Curtis's senior year. This literal entire point is that both of us care a ton. Neither of us want you to make an unfair decision because we both fucking love this, so you should care about this. If it is about community, then that proves it is a question of models and what we are doing here, which links back to the entire overview above. The Curtis is absolutely revitalized black youth activity. That will be true regardless of who wins that debate. Black debaters want him to win, but it's also true that I am the last non-dude standing, and there are a ton of young women in high school who want to see me succeed. The point is not that you should compare those, it is that you should not. Only our model solves that because instead of debates becoming about people and who should win as individuals, it becomes about political strategies, the solutions, the resolution to actual substantive research about the world. The ADA stuff is irrelevant. It did not happen in this debate, but apologies are good. Obviously, we talked to MSU, and I'd be happy to talk to them again after this debate. I should not lose around about it, and we should not be hashing it out in a competitive forum where people are incentivized to double down. We did not extend a ballot pick, so I don't know what this offense gets them because we have literally critiqued the affirmative insofar as we said their model of debate and debates about debate are good. Fairness is not whiteness. Dropped that we all care a ton. Argument is not some silly paradox, but instead this is a thing that we both care a ton about, and you should not make an unfair decision. Our argument is not about denying Emporia as people. It is about models of debate, which is best in outweighs. Teams go 0 and 6 is our argument. They come back because they want to win, and because there is some value they find in this activity instead of just going and reading a book. Dropped that you should say fuck judges who don't flow. That means that you should define this debate technically, which is what actually intervenes in the system of judge fuckery. Fiat is good. It's the only way to compare endpoints. It's not psychic wages or extinction causing. Instead, it allows us to compare political strategies, which is the entire point of debate in the first place. Terraforming decided was also answered by name, and every piece of link defense I stated above is sufficient. Unions are good. They secure things like wage increases, wage gains, and reduce racial resentment, which is the evidence that we read in this debate. Switch side debate is good. Being the bargaining table is solved by you all being technical judges who give us the same chances of winning as you give them. No liquidation dissent also answered by name in the 2NC. We did not read a TBA, which is the only link they explain to the liquidation dissent. The 2ER does not get to invent a new one because then I don't get to answer it. It's neoliberal worldview stuff was an assertion. It doesn't apply to our offense. Oh, we flipped neg because I am a senior. I wanted to give the 2 and R. I enjoy being negative, and I wanted the ball. Hondo. Did not just say flex or negation. We said that it's key to radical testing. Every piece of offense that we have on topicality is the reason why conditional engagement of the AF is good. It allows the AF it allows the negative to test the affirmative from multiple angles, which forces them to get deeper on their scholarship, and allows us to engage with a wider range of literature bases. That's also better for black insurgent argumentation because it means that we're reading a wider range of black literature and scholarship. But this is not a reason to reject the team. At worst, it means you can reject the criticism. But topicality is also a prior question because it's a question if this debate should happen in the first place, which outweighs conditionality. It's not fungibility because again, contingent testing is good, and it's not the same as they're complaining. The case doesn't wasn't solved, but if it were, it would prove models which is done above. We have not engaged in anti-blackness. They would have to win a link for you to reject us for. We are not the PRL, nor have we engaged in surveillance, especially wanting our assertion without actual link or explanation. But voting affirmative does not challenge either of those things, which outweighs. They do not have any outside debates, which means they have to win an intrinsic connection, or they don't get offense about things that happen outside of debates, which means they have to win an intrinsic connection between each one of their examples and the interpretation that we have read in this debate. So going for policy debates or policy teams bad in general is not offense, fuck ICE, etc. It's not solved by you voting affirmative. Ballot causes norms is our argument. Critique staff inevitable or not answer to our critique of their model. Remember, the 1AC proposed that this should be just about this debate. We have critiqued that. Do not reject the team for suicide. It's not pro-Trumping. The end point of this is that we can never talk about black people suffering because we cannot name it, which is obviously much worse. The pro is irrelevant in this case because this debate is only about debate, and SCOTUS Cook now is the reason debating the topic is good, all of which is impacted out on T.
Did anybody catch how much time we had left? 5:45. Yeah. 5:45 started now. fairness like properly extended?
Oh, were you asking
Yes,
me?
yes, correct. No.
Like, like yes and no.
Yes and no.
Well, it's like implicit and
Yeah.
stuff.
Quick question. TA switch side, which one?
Switch side.
Oh, there's 5 people here. I'm tripping. Okay. Case Top Cali. Georgetown, you're all good.
All good, yeah.
Bo, Mojica, Michaela, Margaret, Julian. Okay.
This is going to be a debate about debate, and it's going to be about Georgetown residents investment and engagement with black arguments. Look, framing issue that the Tournar did not say the word spirit murder once. Look, I know you may feel sympathetic to Conley, but the Tournar was way too light here on the benefits of their model debate and why it turns case or why it means that case is a bad idea, but they did not answer our impact term, which we flagged as a prerequisite to accessing class, making it try or die for you to vote affirmatives. But white nihilism and spirit murder outweigh, they drop it in their model debate, deputizing non-black people to exploit, and they value black lives to gain psychological wages through the ballot. This is proven when Georgetown embraces when we flip negative to police up, point trope like suicide, lie about speaker position, making their commitments, conditional black debaters, making debate hostile, resulting in the spiritual destruction of black debaters. Drop that, prevent them from showing up to clash in the first place because they feel devalued, psychologically harmed, racially hate crimes, etc. We make them leave debate and make debate more racist than black debaters leave the space once you vote for their imposition of topicality. The proof is try or die to reject them. Vote after black nihilism. They drop this as a spiritual prayer in response to psychological wages of union busting in debate, when they drop carved out of space for fugitive inhabitants by affirming vulgar performances. But you know the ballot verse constantly saw voting acts as a striking as a false promise of the resolution to only energize energy back to black debaters to fight back against suppression in debate. The first argument is ballot is key. Even if you think this is true, we're willing a reason why the model debate precludes black assets and drop. They cannot concede models not being enacted for them to chaos are inevitable, and they cannot make norms to prove we create norms because only they drop our actions as prerequisite. You should have no sympathy. Say we are not a PRL. Drop this about ideology and intention. So it's often that 100 we have an intrinsic reason why we have won this round. They say not talking about black suffering is wrong. You can do it, but not in a disingenuous way. Ballots. They have dropped the argument about you drop your ballot in the bucket. Our burden is not to solve all impacts of racism in debate, but rather they've dropped vote app. It's a good idea and more forward voting negative. Dropped FBI surveillance, bad judging, and more. It may have seemed impossible to stop 20 years ago. They also dropped your ballot. Maybe it's small now, but they dropped a million drops of water creates a river of community building that Georgetown is told to reject, which you will be rejected if you try or die app ballot. They drop ballots are key and control the internal link for the skills argument because Louisville Project and Emporia made debate better through their class proves that only black insurgent argumentation can solve. They drop voting app. Is the act of black insurgent argumentation link turns her off and should exist with return to Conley's framing. Why the activity is good. Topicality. Framing issues that we all come to debate not just to win, but to fucking represent our communities, to engage in cultural exploration and more. That's not just intrinsic to winning, but Conley's law debate, gamified debate, so fucking much to the point it makes implicit racism inevitable, which prevents black debaters from showing up in the first place. All you on the panel should ask yourself, why is it okay for us to show up to debate and black students never feel comfortable to show up to class in the first place? To prove that their law debate constantly polices black debaters with framework and constantly spirit murdering them by refusing to give them consistently and embracing racist legacy. They say, the counter-interpretation, vote after black black nihilism in this debate. We are on the road right now. They dropped vote out to keep it going. They dropped that their model debate is bad because it forces me and other black insurgent debaters to go extinct by saying like teams like Louisville, Towson, Emporia, Rutgers, Baylor, Iowa, Liberty, Wake, etc. should not be in this space. We should have never won with the former union busting. They dropped that. The liquidation does not prove that there is no such thing as one universal model of debate. But if you think models are good, vote out to embrace a model debate rejects anti-blackness so black players can come to clash in the first place. Since they dropped really negative, just find a model that tells black kids they should never win for challenging racist norms. Now, clash. Conley is good at claiming a model of debate is good, but I have no reason why their model debate is intrinsically good outside of it just being a model. They rented for a model debate is good, but haven't said why clash determines case, why black nihilism is bad, etc. And they have not explained why it creates any explorable skills to solve any of their violence, proven by the examples of cross-sections about how the topic has been so stale and not taught us how to actually engage in organizing, repeatedly not solve. But really, really importantly, they dropped every warrant for the fiat case. They dropped that the evidence said that fiat is more underworld because they said you should just imagine how to get policy passed, which is proven by the unions, education, and people get black jobs argument. But also they dropped the psychological weights society that proves that affirming class struggle intensifies anti-blackness because it never seeks to attune to the violence that's happening in debate. I.e., every argument that the one AC made about how you try to talk about collective bargaining in this space, whenever collective bargaining with the niggas who are looking right in front of you prove that per their own evidence they create anti-blackness in debate and proves they can never solve any of the violence. Switch side debate. They are really good in line by line, but not somehow answer any of our arguments. Civility dissat is dropped in the 2-hour, no new answers. They dropped switch side called the spirit murder and civility politics proved by Josh Howard being seen as uncivil or proves that they force us to read it on the negative because they do not want to engage with it in this space because they think it's too vulgar. They dropped that. This is bad because it enables the PRL to determine the value of black argumentation by always casting it to the affirmative, but also drop the devil's advocate dissat. Switching sides creates amoral political activists just like Georgetown that takes sides on anything, creates a lot of convention and produces debaters into racist and fascist 1% risk that they spirit murder outweigh because you know spirit murder is at 100 because they dropped it and you know that precludes any benefit of a model because it does not matter if there's a model if black debaters cannot come to class in the first place. Now they say that it's solved by us being technical, obviously not true because they dropped that switch side debate as a false bargain because they would just read framework to move our critique about debate in the first place we cannot solve. They say we phonetically want the ball. They dropped the example of Bo, you knowing that Conley 2-8 in our round versus us, which means that Conley did not have to be negative to be a two-way, which proves you know you're lying. They say balance cause norms. It does not maybe not spill out, but you know a drop in the bucket is good. But if you think balance do cause norms, voting affirmative is a better usage of it because it's try or die to create models of debate that include black children. Even if you don't like this argument, the 2-R concede they prove you not have any sympathy for them. They say that debate should be about strategy. Debate is definitely not just about insularity, rather how we engage the community. They say critiques on the negative is best because we learn how to cut cards and make us better people. They drop that this is a racist logic because it says that black debaters are not humble or not reflective to prove they cannot solve. They say judges, they say fuck judges not to flow. No, fuck them for imposing a model debate. That's actually racist toward black debaters to prove they cannot solve any of their violence. They say that fiat is good for endpoints wrong because they drop that you cannot fiat away racism and they cannot teach you skills or prove they cannot solve any of their offense. Look, I know you may feel sympathetic, I understand. The 2-R dropped spirit murder, dropped it comes before, recruits. If you think we want to diss that to our class, you vote them down because we're not class and black debaters gotta show up to fucking class in the first place!
Let me clarify for the podcast. Let me tell you.
We're back in
Oh my God. When that shit show up, you know. I'm just saying it. You know when it show up? After y'all niggas. They said no. And then I to the key. Your partner. I said, oh yeah, and this nigga right here too. Thank you. Can we give the speech? What it is. They got no. I think this one is I know. I thought about it. listen. See? Exactly.
Let's have more chairs.
Yeah. Hey, get a little dance. Debate used to be wild back in the day. I won't lie. We had some wild That was it.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Let's just move between these rounds. Give me a rope or something.
They're supposed to talk to guys about food if they were hungry.
Yeah, they're welcome to talk about it.
If anyone sees the light or give her.
Do you mind switching spots?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought was happening. Initially.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's different. It's different.
Yeah. Where is he? General Sub. Let's lock him in. It's fine.
And then I will hit the final button. Yeah. Yeah, Kush one is your Yeah.
Can I take you to? Right. So I already talked to her. Yes. That's what. And we can talk about it. Sure. Cool. I have a different thing for you next thing. Why? You want to?
I'm just saying. That's right.
I don't, but they might have some restrictions up to
And these are not people that have a good time. You know, it's never. Just the look people are talking about. Your sister Christ, maybe. I'm just, I'm not even, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. Because everything I want to say right now would be very disrespectful. What? What I thought you were eating, they missed a seat up for Easter. Yes, we are, because we love the word. But you don't be doing that, see, right? And I can tell record. Immediately, like, see that you think like, so y'all need to move the fuck out of the way. And I needed an iPad. Just face that voice. Because I'm being in church like, I mean, I'm missing the call. So you just gotta listen. They did? That's wild. Yikes. This guy in it. People that need to know now. Not resolved. Oh. Y'all are so weak. Y'all are so weak. The fact that we're not going to is so weak.
Yes.
to the thing. You couldn't catch me there and giving that money back.
I actually was typing my like, what I just know my kid. Like, I think like would state money like this. I don't want to be so because
Are there things that you
nobody has to see, but I would state money. I think it's actually about this. So like that's the thing. So believe it. If you look at love letter, and like I'm not like this because like it's just so good. It's the possible.
it'd be weird if I was just like
I know, but he doesn't like he doesn't say I'm sorry oh no, I'm not saying I think it's just every time y'all say this, it's so hard for me to centralize my mind. So good. You can say this to that girl when she was over the tears. Scary. It's better word to say. Yeah, that's weird. Is that like maybe my I just was about the hotels, then when you said the restaurant in my head, what is that you're eating, Dawn? Oh, sorry.
You're good. You're good. We ordered it. We ordered it off of his phone, so I don't actually know the name of the restaurant. But it's this General Tso's chicken. I got pork rice, but he got this General Tso's chicken that he really, really likes in the area.
Is the pork fries good?
I like it. I'll send him a message.
Girl, bye. Are you serious? Are they actually? Are your parents for real, Michelle? Just look at her face. No. I know. Because I can tell by her face she's like, it's not what? That's the name. That's the name. It's a real thing. But it's the accent that's letting me know this is just right. Beef bacon. Beef bacon where? I can be like beef bacon is girl, shut up. I don't know. I ain't never was. I feel like that's just being detergent. That you telling this your parents that they probably go to church every Sunday. Deacons in the church. Actually, because I know for sure you numbers look up. Girl, I ain't seen you pray. You have to left have a prayer. That's my home. Lying about praying and God, if let me tell you, hell is hot. Hell is a very, very hot place. You also need to take off like go to church. Whether it be a Muslim church or a Christian church, bro, you need to go. It's the role of the arts for me. Sticking to the script. She said I'm drunk. This is like imagine the grand they say she knows makes me so glad that we're not going to see that, and I feel like because the baby just help. I'm not right. It's called being multi-denominational. No! In fact, playing with Jesus. That's not playing. Yes, it is. You think Jesus said that? No, it's not about pretending. It sounds like a lukewarm Christian who don't know what they want. Like, let me tell you, she'll chew you up and spit you out real quick. I'm gonna go set the
Linear? Bitch, what
and
do you
I
think
love my
this is?
linear understanding.
Linear is a crazy word.
And I think I need you to go over there because it's starting to get hot over here.
Because when he starts striking you down, I need to be far away. Lord, it is her and her alone. He's sure enough to everybody. What that got to do about you lying?
That's not lying.
About being Muslim?
I think there are some aspects that are going on.
That's not what I asked you about being Muslim.
Well, that's not lying. So you're Muslim. In a way. You be playing with Jesus? I'm not. And he's going to play with you. You don't have to curse me.
That's a curse.
I'm not cursing you. I'm just reminding you. The devil is alive from the pits. Y'all can get out of fucking Lynchburg. How about that?
Girl.
What's it about Lynchburg? We got 55,000 churches on every fucking block in Lynchburg. Let me tell you one thing about it. Lynchburg knows the one God. And there are. I
What
won't
does
doubt
that
that.
mean for you lying about being a Muslim? That's the point I'm not getting.
Lying. It's about, you're right. It's not about lying. It's about your soul. It's about where it's going. Stop. Can you stop lying about being a Muslim?
I never know you to be an evangelist, but my you need to go out a little pocket pamphlets right now. Like, you need to go door knocking because oh my God.
I care about you. I just don't want you to know.
That's crazy.
I think that I would that was an angel. Like that is another to me. No, it just means you can have proximity to Christ and not really know Christ. I think that's a proximity allowed.
To lie about being a Muslim?
No, it's not about being a Muslim.
You sat here trying to convince us with Ramadan.
The devil is a liar.
Y'all praying, but I don't know if you pray to Christ. I won't lie. Whoever y'all pray to, you should go ahead and ask Jesus for some, repentance. Yes, you better rinse him
Because I'm really so over it.
Yes, you better evangelize.
And prayers like, and Muslims like, what?
Right, because she said you're going to burn. Girl, you going to hell.
It's too short. It's just like,
I said, good. I'm going to play with you. Girl, I never knew you to be, but let me get you some skirts. Some long skirts. I'm going to get you some long skirts.
You got it. You got the option.
Don't let me see you in the Regina.
It's
No, die. You forgot you.
species I already wrote my.
You just said if it's too short, she gonna burn. But she gonna die now.
I'm talking about detective skirt, you know. To be fair, I don't actually believe that. Like, people who are just trying to be a Christian, like, I don't
Let them know that they just
It's truly not about your outside, it's really about your inside. You are the Lord. And I really hope you are. You are not alive.
Multiple over there. There is one true.
The Bible has multiple gods and idols. Maybe. He won't strike you down now because that was the Old Testament, but he will tonight you in those days.
You better preach. What that means?
He sure does.
Oh, okay.
Amen.
You want me in order for you?
Amen.
What do you want?
What does that guy do? I agree. What that guy do?
Dragon Chinese cuisine?
You're not answering the question. I've been asking it this whole time. It's the same thing. It hasn't changed. You know, whenever I get into this, I feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, what do you want? I just got General So's. Yeah, come to us. It's a lead. Is this your charger?
Hey, Mike.
What charger?
Can you get the cook
Yeah, it will also be rice.
How much is it? I can just order myself.
What's up?
I can just order myself.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Just text me the eats and I'll get that. Yeah. I was judging I didn't know this so I just heard claps and hooting. I'm like delivering my decision and tweaking as I'm doing it. Yeah, do you want that?
Oh, yeah.
How much water? I was just back at the checking stuff. Okay, do you mind? Would you be able to grab my stuff? Do you have to do things? Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Right. And then we don't have to go to the airport. Like, why would you send me that? You can just do that. Just sit down like some shit like that. I thought, you know. We were. Oh no. Yeah, girl. That quick. You did? We did have this conversation. I thought what we actually thought was that we were doing the opposite. So what you're saying, because you're saying she's going to do next year?
I say whatever happens next year, what is it on the end? Like,
Okay.
Right. Yeah, she had spoken. In my mind, it just feels like she don't do this.
Talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have
Who you
had
coaching?
to.
Caitlin. Caitlin kids. Yeah. That's gonna be a fun time. 3 little boogers, yeah.
The crazy thing about the LTTC this year is I feel like there's a lot of people who can win.
Like everybody.
It's like everyone can win that.
Yeah.
It's like not like other years where it's like 4 people.
It's like, yeah, that's usually like the 4th years and up. It's just
yeah, it's
like,
gonna be kind of a bloodbath. I'm excited.
and a lot of people are gonna lose like in octos, and it's gonna be really, really crazy.
Shit's gonna be crazy.
I agree.
Has Caitlin been like that?
Yeah, yeah, she's been Caitlin, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'll live my regular life.
Huh? Any word on the
No, no.
I have real shit to do. She's in numbers. What she look like? She light skin? Was she at Jake Numbers? Yes, I remember Jackson. The Jackson was the big one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I remember you guys. Big, like the big. Yeah, real big. Don't bring nothing back. No, but she had two ways of my Right, but if you don't see my value, be respectful. Yeah. Absolutely. It's not crazy. So does she just didn't get paid to be? Yeah, she just you think it's coming back? I was just wondering if she did or not. Mike, I wouldn't even play with you. Get on this bus now. You better pay. That's Mike. If you pay us all our money back to the hotel,
You would put up receipts so fast.
then you could do whatever the fuck you want to do. But until then, you gotta get your ass on this bus on this beam. You surely better than me. You better than me, but that's really what I would have texted. We would have both taken each other at the same time. We both responded. Yeah. You not too small.
stuff. Every summer. They're gonna do shit. They say they want to be, they don't understand the holiday. Yes, and I'm like, I'm always available to hop on. I'm not gonna throw my mouth. I'm not gonna just throw you something and be like, okay, we did that, and figure out like.
You are willing to put it. That's what we talk about is every single. I'm saying this was us at NDT prep. Jada.
Went to the water park.
I had a whole practice meeting set up there to the team. Let's look at that. Love it.
Let me know.
I'm going to the
I'm going to water park. I'm not driving over here for you to sit there.
you play.
Very good.
That's why I'm like, sometimes I gotta do those things too. I'm telling you. We practice it. Y'all better
Tell us when.
This is one day available. This is one time. Get it on.
Oh my God. Yeah. Dope shit, dope tea. So we need to talk about the black kids.
Okay, Gary. Like you. Sorry, but we still like you though, Gary.
And shit that she got to do.
I was
I know, give me
I'll let you know.
That means it's stored. No. Let me say, that would never be a thing. To be fair, I don't know if I've seen.
He is really nice, but Mike is a debater. And he will find it very clearly that he was a debater. And he is one man on that. You never really know what white people do until it comes out in the heat of the moment.
This is fine.
It's Colin's fault. He has the button.
You're transferring this one over. If I'm the one ordering for you,
I also got
unless you go put it on your card, then you could do whatever you want to get. The echo isn't kind of powerful. I already added it. Oh no, I got that. It's not usually do whatever. Okay, if you get it on your card, you do that. It's backward figures. I got the mixture. How much?
Yeah, bro, nice watch. What'd you get it for? What'd you get it for?
So why don't I just get the chicken fried rice one and then they close soon. They close soon. Is that it? Great. It's not. She never had her.
goes in and out. Actually,
Oh, you like that, right? Oh, no, that was. I'm joking. It was Kate Larry. No. I heard about that. But then it's not killing people. But now it's like.
And was I wrong about it being nasty? And just overrated? Thank you.
Like, I think McDonald's needs this
You
by
need
1,010%.
gluten-free. Yeah. Stay right for y'all. Not a little bit. Stay right. How?
I gotta go see
You're annoying.
No.
These
are allegations accused against me, and it's not true.
You messed up to say that man. You're a liar. You're a whole liar.
Am I not seen this?
Okay, hey. You don't care. Truly, we don't care. We should not. I'm a decision maker. Was it too late? Oh. It doesn't matter. That's why you need the judges, but I get why you think that it's better safely sorry. It's make you really play. Jamie, I was wondering. And I bet you she did. She never would feel So, Alana, tell me about your professor. You literally only said yes, but what he said?
I said it the original time. Yeah.
So now that you're trying to do thoughts.
You were so right.
It's what?
Like, this is so mid. I genuinely don't understand what
I told you. It's because you didn't say anything else. No. If you gotta do all of that for something to be good, it's not good. Like, I'm sorry. It's just not good. You ordered something good when you went? Oh. Yeah. They funded TSA. Oh, you gave it to her? Okay. I was like, I thought you said I could get some. It was gonna get fed. You got your fed. Well, yeah, what was your other? Someone on the block. Here's a quick dirt. Then have them go sit down. Is that what you ever had? Oh, yeah.
I used to remember that yet. I won't lie. Embarrassing the shit out of me. And he shows look like a frack.
I wore this hat and I wore the tailgate.
So that is wrong.
Oh, no. No, but the way you lie, the way you lie, the ease of which you lie is great.
You need to get right with or a split second.
Girl, it was nice split.
And I don't know if you're going to FaceTime you from church on Sunday for Easter, but I
Sit you right here.
I sent you a couple links of where you can get a service with girl for a split second. I'm a liar. Said for it. What? Oh my God! We just go for each other. It's like the and then Vito was defending Morgan. And then Morgan.
Thank you. This is why y'all have people back because what? I tried to have you back. But you can't next time when somebody call you, oh, I'm like, yeah, bitch.
I was gonna call him old. And also, the fact that y'all were like, making me think about like y'all went to school at the same time. Like I didn't realize that she was when I thought y'all had never according to you, you were never my coach. I thought y'all went to school at the same time. And then for a time no way you would thought that. Huh?
You said it that for a time, you thought what?
Shut up! Do not say it again.
Don't say that, don't say that. Not in front of these little dusty kids. And you thinking that it's wild, crazy. You're surely because you never know me. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't know y'all that well.
But I'm saying, but you saw us and immediately thought.
We all get to have our first
It's still pretty cool. And that's.
No, because I know what you were trying to say.
You know, it still gives. It's like, it's the bracelet, the
I can't wear
the hair. It just gives. I'm saying, it just gives to the.
Yeah.
Juniors, seniors, yada yada yada.
Period. Trying to prove that she's not AKA. But the vibes is still good. Like, it's a legacy thing. Like, she was also AKA. Oh, I won't do that. I would have told you. I would lie. I would do that.
And I didn't have to put it. You know, you can say, wait, no,
Because my mom always told me, you don't leave the house. You don't leave the house.
and I'm okay with it. To this day, I'm drunk and I'll be shocked. Oh, we got my mom's like,
Yeah. That is me. I won't lie. I will admit that for sure.
Oh, this was
And I don't know what to tell you. Would you ever, what is it, pledge? No, like you just don't agree with something. Would you have ever pledged if it was everything on the green? Not like if it was, you know, if it wasn't in the school.
I was supposed to know and I wanted to know the story.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know, actually. But I don't say like
You know, it fits you very well.
What's wrong with
Nothing. Oh, there. But you know, they give us a good time. When you see them, you know them.
but when you are not, and then somebody assumes that you are asking about it, they're trying to say something.
They do it very easy.
We're in. Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
Here you go. I'm just what we to do.
Okay.
I can call him.
I can't stop saying stuff in that rhythm. I'm sorry. You're like, hello.
She bought glasses. That was a difference.
All the time. All the time. That was
What you doing?
what are you?
That was private.
That is private.
We all here?
Yep.
Congratulations to everybody to making it to the semifinals of the 80th NDT. The decision is a 3-2 for the affirmative.
I mean, it's hard to know where to start because I think so highly of you. I think that you are just a remarkable person and debater who has made an incredible name for yourself, and you have made me proud to ever have been affiliated with Georgetown, and you have, you know, you are fierce and you're strong and you're brilliant, and one of my one of the things that means the most to me is that you're thinking about sticking around, and I really, really, really hope you do that because the activity is better with you in it. And I thought you debated incredibly well. I thought that you just, you know, gave it so much, not just in this debate, but for 4 years. And that is, I will stop.
You should find out.
This has less tact than what Michaela said, but you're so funny. Like, it is crazy. Like, you're one of the best debaters I ever debated. Like, there are not that many people I was just, like, scared shitless of being apt against in the NDT last year, and you're one of them. Like, I had no idea what apt to write against you. After talking to you last year, I was like, it wouldn't have worked what we wrote against you. Like, this debate was absolutely incredible. Like, I wish we could have debated more. I wish I could have judged you more this year because, like, this debate was absolutely phenomenal. And, like, you know, it is ridiculous to think that you put Georgetown on the map. Like, Georgetown's not like a bad debate school, no. Like, I think this group of people and like almost everybody in this room would agree that like you are by far the heart and soul of the Georgetown debate program, and like that is saying so much. That exceeds any win you could possibly get on tap room. Like, and it is absolutely deserved. So congratulations.
Connolly, I love you. I have seen you step into yourself as a debater and as a human, and it's been such a joy and pleasure. You are phenomenal. Seeing you in quarters, seeing you in semis, you are a monster in this activity, and you are so scary to coach against and to compete against. And I so deeply hope you stick around next year to coach. You are constantly, your name is constantly being thrown around our squadron, both because you're friends with Will, but also because we always have to think about how to beat Georgetown AC. I just like you are going to be one of those students that I just look back on seeing you go from 15 years old and being scared and you know such smart but timid and a little bit scared about what this policy debate activity is, to go and to be where you are now, which is just an incredible powerhouse on this circuit. So Connolly, I'm just so proud. I hope I can give you more compliments later, but you're just incredible, and you are you. You are so you. And I need you to be so deeply proud of your career and this debate and every single debate that I've seen in the last 10 years of this activity.
I completely agree. I think you have such like a distinct style when you speak, and also your personality shines through so much in your speeches, and I feel like that's a hard thing to do, and to also be so technical and fast at the same time. And I just love listening to you debate. And I only think I debated you once last year. My memory's bad about my previous debates, but I do remember that round being very fun and enjoying it. And I watched a few of your debates earlier this year, and I just remember being like, this person is awesome. Like, and it's always been such a challenge to think about how to debate you. And I can tell how hard you worked, and I can tell how dedicated you are, how much you care. All those things are just so apparent seeing you debate, and just the way you like navigate tournaments, the research you do, the way you hand yourself the process, and I just have absolutely adored being able to watch you debate. And you should be very, very proud of yourself, because how much you care and how much effort you put into debate is so evident. And it's like you said, like everyone, we're all here for that, and like everyone sees that and loves it about you, and I really, really respect that. And I also want to say that you being around means a lot to me, because I know that it's also hard to be like a girl and very like a very high competitive level. It is difficult. It is not easy. Like it is very, very hard to an extent that people honestly don't talk about, and it's hard. It's really hard, and I will say that you being around inspires me, and definitely inspires other people. and just like one person, like having one other girl like late elims in tournaments, like that makes a huge difference. Like that is a big thing for a lot of people, and I hope you know that even for me, like as a judge, but also when you're competing at the same time, like you made that difference for me, and I hope you know that you definitely made that difference for so many other people, and yeah, it's very meaningful.
One of your best performances that I've seen, you know, in the entirety of your career. I think you should be very proud of what you put forth in this debate, and I think that the magnitude of the applause and all the cheers that you got were a testament to what you put forth, both you know, in this debate and in your career. I totally agree with what was just said. One of the things that I think is really like the standout legacy that you'll have in this debate is, you know, the inspiration that you've had for young women and girls in this activity. And so to call attention to that in this debate, you know, might have been a controversial move, but I think it is correct. And you know, that's one of your lasting legacies of the debate, something that you should be really proud of. And I also like that you said you wanted the ball in your hands, and you know, you made your love for debate like the last argument that, you know, you went for it. So that's something to be proud of as well. So congratulations.
Dude, this debate was hard.
It was so hard.
Oh my
Like,
god,
it was
so hard. Yeah, it was so hard.
Congrats, y'all.
You should be extremely proud of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Good luck, Long Beach.
Thanks.
My dark horse. I'm so sad. Congratulations on everything. You should be so proud of yourself. You deserve all of the success. You should be very, very proud of yourself.
I'm excited to see all next year.
Hi. We'll see you here. You know, back in the room. We're very, very proud of you.